Good evening, everyone, to the Plan Commission meeting for February 2024. The first thing on the agenda is to call to the order. Do we have a quorum? Yes, thank you. So next is approval of the minute.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do you have any question, comments? No? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes for January 16, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next in our agenda is public appearance for non-agenda items. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak for a non-agenda item? No. Okay. So next, we move to agenda review. Any comment with the agenda review? No? Okay. And then we move to agenda items. And the first thing that we have is I will open the public hearing and consideration of Ordinance 2024-0-03 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 01-24 adopting and recommending the Spring 2024 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan Map and Land Use Plan in the 9 Spring Neighborhood Plan for a property located off East Sherwood Parkway, specifically from medium-density residential to high-density residential. And because we have A and B are together, I'm going to open the two public hearing together. And next, I'm going to open the public hearing and consideration on Comprehensive Development Plan CDP-2332-24, requested by Fred De Villers, agent from IP Holdings, LLC, to amend the Swan Creek Comprehensive Plan to allow the construction of 60 high-density detached units in the Swan Creek development on property located at the corner of East Sherwood Parkway and Crinkle Root Drive. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, because I opened the public hearing, there is a lot of people here that they are registered to speak. So everyone will have 3 minutes to speak. And I will call you. You're going to come to the microphone here. And when your time is up, I will tell you your time is up. So then the next person will come. Okay? And then we are going to call the developer. And then we are going to have the recommendation from the staff. Okay? And then Plan Commission deliberation. Okay. You have a question, sir?
Yes. One question. You're combining agenda items A and B.
Yes.
I would object and say that each of those does deserve separate consideration and that 2 minutes per agenda item.
Yeah, so what I am doing, I am combining the public hearing. Okay? Okay, because most of the people that register, they want to speak in A and B together. So this is what we're doing. Okay, so I want to call the first person, Lisa Bloom, and then I will call Shelley Reynolds. They wish to speak in opposition. So where they are? Lisa? Yeah, you can. Have a seat.
Thank
And
you.
where is Shelley Reynolds? Can you come also to the microphone? Thank you. Okay, we're ready.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Lisa Bloom, and my husband Ian Bloom is here with me tonight. I live in the Swan Creek neighborhood. We rent one of the sides of a duplex on Sassafras, which would be right across from where this plan is set to take place. And I just wanted to ask for your consideration to keep it at the medium density instead of going to the high density. Having lived there for 5 years, I think I have a good sense of kind of the feel of the neighborhood and the traffic flow and stuff. A couple things that I just wanted to point out is we live right by Crinkle Root, so Crinkle Root and Sassafras. And there have been a couple accidents, which I have heard from my house when people have been turning out of the apartments, kind of at Sassafras there. And so that's been a little scary just to come outside. I even asked for one of them, if they needed help after the accident. So I think it's already an area that's pretty has a lot of traffic. I was also traveling on Crinkle Route the other day after, kind of after the rush hour. But, it's about 25 miles an hour there, and somebody passed me. Like, they literally went around me on Crinkle Route. And so I just want to say that I think that there's already a lot of traffic there. I think having it at high density, I don't have anything against having apartments. I rented an apartment for 15 years. But I think just the amount of density that it would bring to that space in an area that's already grown really quickly could be detrimental. There's a park right there, as many of you know. So anyway, I see a lot of people looking down, but I really hope that you will consider this for the people who live there. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelley?
Hi. Thanks for listening to us. I also live in Swan Creek. I'm also on the Homeowners Association board, and I'm also a real estate agent, and I've lived in the neighborhood for 19 years now, I think, 19 years. So I also, because I'm a real estate agent, I also do building. I do spec houses and buildings. So I've built 4 or 5 houses in Terra Vesa. So I have some experience with building in subdivisions, brand new subdivisions. So Terra Vesa sold very quickly. I know that the developer here is saying that, a big builder won't come in and buy all those lots, but they would sell very, very fast. If you were to do it for, keep it at the medium density and have housing, regular housing. So I've also worked with low income on Home Buyers Roundtable in Madison and worked with down payment programs. So I have an overall experience in real estate. The lots in Terra Vesa initially sold at $70,000 when they first went up. Now I just sold a lot for $90,000. So they do go up in price, and I think the developer here in this neighborhood could sell those lots for a good price and still be able to make money as what they would like to do. So let's see. So if the city needs a taxable base, one of the things about building there and the houses that have sold in Swan Creek, in the last few months, people don't sell very much in Swan Creek. They like to stay there because it's a really great place to live. So the last 3 months or last 6 months, there's only been 3 homes that have sold, and those have sold from 400 up to 725,000. So it would be easy to bring all kind of everyone's housing prices, their cost of their homes up higher, with the higher taxes, with the higher home pricing. So the other thing that I looked at was I talked to a couple other developers that I know about developing this and making it low income housing, which would be fabulous. The problem is that the numbers that I have heard were stated about this didn't seem to work for the numbers that I've talked to other developers about. We believe that you could sell those lots for at least $60,000 each. Could be even more than that. So all those lots that are there could sell, and we could still have that medium density housing and not have to go to a high density. They mentioned that they could then build those low income houses and sell them for $310,000 to $340,000. I believe it'll be a little bit tight doing that and staying within the covenants and restrictions, because restrictions require that it's 1,100 square feet per house. You'd have to build those houses at $200 to $225 a square foot.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then I will call Ron Golish. He wishes to speak in opposition for A and B. Ron, where are you? Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'm Italian. Can I stand and use my hands? Or
Huh?
I'm Italian. Can I stand and use my hands and speak? Okay.
Please sit down. Please sit down.
Oh, sorry. Well, good evening. I'm Ron Golish. I've lived in Swan Creek for 17 plus years. I'm here to speak in opposition to agenda item A and provisionally to B. Agenda item A, referencing Lot 1 of the comprehensive plan, was originally listed as high density many years ago. In an effort to change lots 111, 117 of the original comprehensive plan to HDR to allow apartments, the city and Swan Creek, with a large citizen input, agreed to the change of Lot 111, 117 to HDR in exchange for Lot 1 changing to MDR. That's why it's MDR today. The city was firm at that point in its commitment to us in Swan Creek that Lot 109, 110, now Lot 1, would stay MDR. The agreement was in place so that the total units in Swan Creek would remain the same, the original comprehension plan. While agenda item A is separate from the motion to approve the design for this lot, item B obviously is tied in many ways. At the community meeting for agenda item A and B called by the owner, he stated in no uncertain terms that it had to be high density and 67 units, or it just was not economically feasible. At the same time, we asked for specifics, project costs, sell prices, any data at all to support that analysis. We were told that he did not have that. It was not possible because he was not the builder, only the developer of the land. But within a week, he submitted redesign with 60 units. Instantly more affordable, I guess. Based on our analysis, as Shelley said, in consultation with realtors and developers in the area, it became obvious that 54 units, the number allowed under the MDR, would also be profitable. After consulting with a past mayor and a past city attorney, we confirmed that once the change is made to HDR, both the comprehensive plan and zoning changes, it will be possible for the owner to change plans and move to a full 150 units allowed under HDR. We believe that's the plan all the way along, in fact. We also are certain that it is impossible legally for the council to write into an agreement that if HDR is approved, only the proposed development would be allowed. In other words, as soon as it's approved for high density, the owner could submit a new plan for 150, certainly going through the whole process again, but could be 150 units. We have an old-fashioned belief in the word of others, including government agencies and officials. We, the people, the citizens, agreed in good faith to allow the city to rezone lots 111, 117 to HDR from medium in Swan Creek and lot 1 to medium so that apartments and condos that were not originally planned could be built, and they were built. We expect the city to be honorable and to honor that commitment and bargain, turn down the request in agenda item A for changing it from high density.
Ron, your time is up.
Okay. Will we get a chance to speak on Part B or not? Since it's separate items, I would think 3 minutes should be.
Yeah, you can speak on B now too. Because it's the open, yeah, you can speak now.
Okay. On item B, much of it's the same, so I'll try to go very quickly so you go through. Again, I've lived here 17 years. And as I reiterate, the property development plan at the community meeting went from 67 to 60 very quickly. And our analysis shows that 54 units and medium density would still be quite profitable for it. Mr. DeVillers did make an offer to the Swan Creek HOA, and I am also an HOA member, to provide the development plan and meet with us before the general community hearing, before this meeting. But for some reason, he seems to think we didn't respond. We did. We attempted to find a copy of the plan and arrange a time, but he never responded back to us. To restate, he insisted that he needed 67 units to be profitable. He then found a way quickly to come back with 60. We maintain that 54 is fine and that medium density designation should be maintained. We would support agenda item B if a change to the development proposal is made to 54 units and zoning left at MDR. We would, though, also request that an updated traffic study be done. Traffic plan as is will not support the increased traffic and parking on East Sherrill. The setbacks of the houses, they're too close to the streets, they're too close to the side streets. There's going to be parking issues all the way around there, and I don't think any of that was ever taken into account because the original plan from the comprehensive plan did not have this type of house in place. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Katie Selner. She wishes to speak in opposition. And then I have another person, but no name. So, do I have more of this? No? Okay, go ahead.
And I'm going to speak on 5A and 5B.
Okay.
So, Dear Plan Commission, I'm here today to oppose the proposed changes to the lot from medium to high density. As stated before, this lot was originally set as high density. However, it was changed to medium density in exchange for making other lots in the Swan Creek area high density instead. Now the city is reneging on its agreement and promised to keep this lot as medium density. I am on the Swan Creek HOA board. There was no outreach to the Swan Creek board to meet with us specifically to discuss the plan. We emailed the developer in December and asked. All he did was set up one info meeting a month ago to inform Swan Creek residents. It was at that meeting we were first told of the proposal to change it to high density and shown a blueprint of the housing proposal. As far as I know, there has been no recent traffic study done and no other research I'm aware of showing the effect of another high-density parcel on other city services, not to mention traffic and parking impacts. As mentioned before, if changing to high density, as many as 150 dwelling units could be built on this lot, approaching triple the number that could be currently built. Holding just one neighborhood informational meeting a month before the Plan Commission meeting is not enough time for careful consideration of all impacts that may incur within our neighborhood. This is rushed and feels like an attempt to push something through. We need more transparency from the developer and city leaders who are sponsoring this change. We live in the Swan Creek neighborhood and care about how it changes and grows. We want changes and growth to be more carefully planned out and done in a responsible manner that not only serves it in the short term, but is something that is smart in the long term. Rushing this proposal through doesn't feel like this. I hope you agree in imposing this change. Katie Sellner. And now I'll go on to 5B.
Okay.
Again, I'm here to voice my opposition to the proposed increase in the number of lots in Swan Creek Parcel Lot 1 from its current maximum of 54 to 60. If you have looked at the plan, you can see that in order to accommodate 60 houses in a relatively small plot, many are sandwiched in behind others. On the blueprint, I counted 13 of 60 houses whose front door and picture window would directly face either the side or the back of another home's garage in order to fit. That is nearly 1 in 4 of the homes having their front door and front window with a rather close-up view of another home's garage. That is a subpar design and feels like it was solely designed to cram as many houses that could fit without respect to aesthetic or traditional house placement or lot layout. If it doesn't fit in with the rest of the homes and other lots in the neighborhood, and I would think selling and reselling of those homes, of those ones that are blocked, are more problematic. I mean, who wants a view of another person's garage door out their picture window? At the info meeting the developer had, he repeatedly told the group that he could not be profitable unless he had a certain number of lots. However, since that meeting, the number of lots has changed from 67 to 60 due to a design change. Reducing another 6 lots to keep it at 54 doesn't seem like a heavy lift and would not be a large decrease in revenue. Plus, with fewer lots, perhaps you could potentially put in a small green space or gathering area in the center of the lot for residents to have, since there looks to be little yard space, making it more attractive for homeowners. The developer and the city have also not reached out to the Swan Creek HOA board or their neighborhood, except for the one meeting. They have had exactly one info meeting, which occurred a month ago. Again, it feels rushed and not transparent. This affects those of us who live in the Swan Creek neighborhood the most, yet we have been left out of the planning and input process. Again, I urge you to vote against this proposal as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So we got a couple of emails. One is from Logan Reistack. He's in support of the amendment to the comp plan. And then also another from Nick Havens. He's also in support of the project. And then we received one from Randy Smith. He's in opposition. So I think we are done with all the people that they wishes to speak about this. So now we're going to move to, I'm going to call the developer, Fred DeVillers, and Jordan Bishop. I don't know if you want to speak, Jordan.
Good evening. I'm Fred DeVillers. I own the property. Our IP Holdings, an entity, owns the property. Began planning the property with city staff back in April and have worked on numerous land plans to try to work with the land. The whole goal of this project was to try to be able to spread the fixed costs of the land development over, I'll be perfectly honest, as many housing units as you can, so that you can try to deliver the lowest possible cost to the builder with the hope that they would then be able to deliver a lower cost of house. And this was based upon what I witnessed over at Terra Vesta, where the houses are going for currently anywhere from somewhere in the mid fives to almost 600,000, depending on the size of the house. So the goal is to try to spread those costs over more units. It really wasn't anything about profitability. It's all about cost amortization over more units, essentially. Additionally, 2/3 of the site has weathered bedrock, so that's an additional cost I'm trying to mitigate by trying to utilize it for a lot of the road gravel that will otherwise go into the project. It's a lot of it's shallow, it's within 2 to 5 feet of the surface. Done a lot of canvassing of what's being built in Terra Vesta and other neighborhoods, and learning that a lot of the houses are between 20 and 30 feet wide. Many of them are 20, 24, and 28, divisible by 4, so the builder uses less lumber. And so that was the whole goal, was to try to deliver as many single-family homes to the market and make them the lowest possible cost you can, so that middle-class families can afford it. Because I've seen construction costs just continue to increase over the years, and it's very challenging to try to deliver a single-family home for a cost that's affordable.
Do you want to speak, Jordan, or no?
Sure, I'll go real quick. So my name is Jordan Bishop, also a real estate agent as well, so I have some perspective to add. Understanding that there's some concerns regarding the unit count going from originally 67 to 60, and now people are referring to keep it at 54. I guess natural economics, larger lot size would then be in play. Obviously increasing purchase price and things of that nature. The reality is this type of project would permit a bit more opportunities for people trying to get in the Fitchburg area that are trying to build wealth, build equity, that don't want to rent. I dealt with 40 first-time home buyers last year alone. I deal with many elderly people as well, and there's really not many options for those looking to really buy a property that's either not dilapidated in nature or, quite frankly, not a condo with condo fees that are $300-400 a month. So it does give some good opportunity with that respect that I do think is needed. The reality is the resaleability, and it was mentioned earlier as well. Quite frankly, this product is going to be appealing to individuals that are wanting something that's going to be cost effective for them. This isn't going to be for someone who's obviously looking for, half an acre, quarter acre of land, and that's understandable. But the reality is people do take pride in home ownership, and people do take pride in the ability to call a place their home. And I think this project gives some opportunity for that other housing doesn't permit. So the only thing I really have to add there. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, Diana, can you, maybe we should go through 5A, and so the commission then can discuss that topic, and then we move to 5B, okay?
Yeah, we can, they kind of tie together. So
Okay.
this evening, before Plan Commission is two different pieces. The first one is a minor comp plan amendment. This minor comp plan amendment is proposed to change from medium density to high density residential. I want to be very clear that this does not change zoning. This only changes the future land use map that we refer to in the comprehensive plan. And then the second piece of this item B is a change to the comprehensive development plan. This is a master plan for the entire Swan Creek area. And it also holds just as much weight, even more than the comprehensive plan, because what that plan does is determine more specific use on any one parcel. So right now, under that comprehensive development plan, this parcel can only have 45 units. This aligns, 54, sorry. 54 units. This aligns with what is in the comp plan. But what is being proposed for a change to the comprehensive development plan is to, if Plan Commission so chooses, is to increase to 60 units. Now, I want to be very clear here. If both of these items are approved tonight, there cannot be 61 units or more built on this parcel, because what is being approved then is the 60 units. And I'll just stop and see if there's any questions from Plan Commission.
Okay, Carol.
Is that if the zoning changes, or if, so why would this not require a rezone, I guess is my question.
Oh, it does, but that's a later step.
Right, so when that rezone comes, then if this would fall through, then someone could come in and build 300 units on this.
No.
And what would stop that?
The
Because
CDP, the Comprehensive Development Plan.
so what would that limit it to?
60. What is before you tonight is this Comprehensive Development Plan to change to 60 units.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So there's no way that this could end up being 300 apartments on this lot?
Not unless Plan Commission and Council would approve a different number.
Okay.
Just to be clear, you're saying not the city's comprehensive plan would not limit that, because we would be changing it to high density residential. But the neighborhood comprehensive development plan is what would restrict it, because that is not medium, high, low. It is, we are saying you can allow 60 to this parcel.
But, yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
Any other comments? Sorry, sir, you cannot, you already have your 3 minutes. Any other comments, question?
Well, let me just come back to this. So, what was set in the original comprehensive development plan was a maximum of 910 units. And so what would be happening tonight, and that will continue to stand unless that is approved change from Plan Commission and Council under that comprehensive development plan. So that's our item B tonight. The comprehensive development plan. And so what is proposed under item B is to increase to 916 units for the overall comprehensive development plan. So what that means in the bigger picture here is that this project has to go through a rezone, and the city will not approve a rezone that is for 61 units or more. Mm-hmm. If what is before Plan Commission and before Council then is approved.
Okay.
That has not been an application that has been submitted at this time. That's a later step. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is another comment about traffic. In your memo, there is a paragraph that, that you explain that, the traffic that when this development, the Swan Creek Comprehensive Development Plan was created, the volume was around 8,715 trips per day per plan.
Correct.
But now, so what you mentioned there is that this project is not going to affect that.
Right.
It's lower than that.
Yep. So I can talk about that too. So under that Swan Creek Comprehensive Development Plan, there was also limits and requirements in terms of traffic volume. In the Comprehensive Development Plan, the overall planned per-day trips was 8,715. That would be trips per day. But however, what's important to understand here is that count originally envisioned the proposed retail at Syene and East Sherrill, and also another 500 trips for the proposed school, which of course was never built. So the modest increase with 6 additional dwelling units here is simply not going to have an issue with the overall traffic volume requirements under the CDP, under the Comprehensive Development Plan. So.
Carol.
I have a question about that. What was the date of that traffic study?
That actually wasn't a traffic study. Those were just the requirements in the Comprehensive Development Plan.
Only reason I'm bringing it up is there's been significant high-density development to the east of this neighborhood that gets a lot of now cross-traffic due to that development. So I'm wondering if there are impacts beyond just the internal impacts in the neighborhood of what the traffic counts actually are right now.
I can't speak to that specific question. I'm just looking at what's in that original planning document. But I believe the applicant will provide a traffic study.
Thank you.
But, so
yeah.
I'm sorry. So I'm correct that if both of these are approved and it's limited to 60, all it's doing is adding 6 units to what already could happen without any involvement on our part or the council. So traffic studies and, I mean, the amount of traffic in the whole area is only affected by 6 additional units. Is that right?
Yes, what is
In a
before
sense.
you is essentially increasing to 6 units.
The other thing that I want to mention to the board is that, we are talking about housing here. The issue that we have in Fitchburg about housing, we are missing what we call the middle missing. They call it, and this is a grand example of that type of unit that we need to build more in Fitchburg. And I know they are a smaller lot. We have a couple of neighborhoods that they are similar to that one. Some part of Terra Besa is like this. The Semilon, what is that? We have Crossing. Yeah, Crescent Crossing is the new development. Seminole and Lacey Road is very similar. I call it the tiny houses. So, and I think that one is another type of housing that we need to build in the city. And this is an infill lot. Everything is already there. So, I am supporting this because of all of these reasons. So.
Can I ask some questions of the developer? Yeah. So I'm curious about I do think it's really interesting that there's single-family homes. Is there still so there's not a condo association?
Condominium.
A land condominium? Can you just, so there'd still be that common areas would still be owned by the association?
Well, the common area is just the road. Just
But
the roadway.
it's a private road, right? It's not
Yes.
It's not public to the city?
Exactly.
So those are managed internally by the,
Land condo, yeah.
okay.
It's
So
similar
snow
to-
removal, landscape maintenance, the things that a lot of people would rather not have to deal with anymore.
Yeah. So I own a townhouse for reference, and so I'm in a condo association, so the outside of our home is not, we don't own the outside of our home. But for these units,
They would own the home.
they would own the entire home?
Yeah.
Okay, and the lot around?
Well, they're land condominium units. So you have two different kind of condominiums. You have a land condominium and you have a building condominium. Sounds like what you live in is a building condominium where you own the insides and the condominium also owns the outside. In this case, it's a land condominium, so only the land is maintained. So there'll be, snow removal and landscape maintenance. But the houses would be owned, both inside and outside would be owned by the homeowner.
That's great. I mean, I personally, we bought a home that was small because we didn't want to have to manage yard. And also, the fact that some people just can't afford a large lot. Unfortunately, that's just not the reality for a lot of people, even if they do want it. So it's just interesting to see a unit. Usually with this type of density, you usually see, townhomes or something. So it's interesting that they're individual
Well, we
homes.
programmed some duplexes in there, and there's a couple builders that have expressed interest in some more. And when I talked with city staff, if we were to program duplexes, we'd probably put them along East Shore Parkway. But it's a very challenging market to make small buildings work economically because of the construction costs. And that's why you have the missing middle, 2s, 4s, 6s, 8s. My day job as a developer, and we've got subcontractors and suppliers that won't even bid a multifamily project unless it's 100 units, because it doesn't make sense for them anymore to do a 50-unit apartment building. So you see at the far end, you've got smaller homes like Terra Vesta and this project, Uptown Crossing, and then the other opposite end of the spectrum is big multifamily projects, not unlike the Addison at Cyan Road and Lacey. I mean, they have to be big in order to make them work, just because the construction costs the way they are.
And what are the homes in terms of like bedrooms, bathrooms? Like is there a range? Like are they typically 3 bedrooms?
Your typical 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
So it'd be a variety of.
Yeah, it'd be very similar to what's in Terra Vesta, because that's what the consumer wants, and then you try to meet as many as the consumer what they can afford.
Thank you.
Stephen.
Yeah, I'll just go out and say that I'm fully in support of this project, and I would say at 54 units. If this were a property that we've had a lot of problem, you just can't get developed. We have those in Fitchburg, but in the last 2-3 years, this same property has come before us twice prior to this proposal. So to me, this is not some property that is nobody wants to touch. And if you're saying the difference between profitability for a builder and everyone involved in this process is the difference between 54 and 50 and 60, go rework the math, put some more duplexes in, because to me that just doesn't. To me, 54 works, medium density works in this place, and if you can't make that profitable, that's on you, because there's enough to play with there at 54 units. Because we've seen 2 other proposals in the last 2 to 3 years to that effect. So I'm all for the proposal, 6 fewer units.
Any other comment?
I'm going to vote the same as Stephen is, because I was on Plan Commission when we did the change for Swan Creek, and I don't think that to gain 6 units for the city, it's worth it to betray the trust with the neighbors that we built by telling them that if we moved, we've gone through this twice where we have moved units within that neighborhood, and I just don't think adding 6 is enough of a benefit. And I agree that, when you look at the plan that's on this page, you could put in some more twin homes, I think, and make up the difference. And I would ask you to do that, because I agree, I like it at 54. I don't like it at 60, because I don't like the precedent that it sets.
I'll also just add, I did my own little math over here. So let's just say at 60 units, you sell them, let's say 400,000. That's a pretty good middle of the road going rate. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but 400,000. If you made it 54 instead of 60, that becomes a 444,000. So it's 11% increase. You can't tell me that you can't find, maybe 10 or 20 more units to become duplexes or even triplexes and find that value, or just pass along to consumer. Now a house is 440 versus 400. That doesn't seem like enough. I mean, it's 11% increase, and that's just, we're not talking about, oh my God, I can't ever develop this because I'm not going to be profitable. It's an 11% increase, because you're talking about 11% decrease in availability of the homes.
But we're talking about 6 houses more. We are not talking about, 20 houses more. So I don't know. Okay, we have another person who wishes to speak. Jay Allen, do you want to speak? And you are in support?
I'm listening to the conversation so far.
Okay, so but he wishes to. Okay, he's in support of this. Gabriela.
The other thing is, do you have a sense of the potential? Obviously, you don't know until you build, but what would you assume the range of the prices of these homes to be?
I'm not the builder, I'm the developer.
Oh, okay. So
And
you
to
don't
tell
know
you
at
the
this
truth,
point.
if you look at what's going on in the market, probably expect the same, most likely more expensive because construction costs keep going up. So whatever homes are selling for in Terra Vesta or another development that has similar sized lots and homes is probably going to be very, very comparable because they're going to be architectural standards where you have to have a decent looking house with decent materials. You're not really changing the model that's out there in the market right now. And in terms of, for me, it was never about profitability. It's all about trying to deliver a lot to the builder at a lower cost because there's fixed costs. Everything that I do is fixed. You know, all the costs associated with the engineering, it's a number. The land is a number. Putting the pipe in the ground for the water, it's a number. And so if you divide that number by X, where X was 67 or X is 54 or 60, the bigger the number, the less than each lot would be to the builder with the goal of trying to lower the overall cost. If you can lower the cost, then I would hope that they would sell it for a lower cost to the consumer. I mean, that was the overall goal. It's not necessarily profitability. It's just like, you know, if you have a manufacturing plant that makes 10,000 widgets and all of a sudden you can make 11,000 the next day because of increased productivity, in theory, they're going to sell it for less. It's like TVs. You know, first plasma TV was $8,000. Now we can buy an LCD for $400. It's all about trying to get your fixed costs divided, you know, into more units so you can deliver your raw goods to a builder at a lower cost.
I guess if I can add real quick, I had a buyer buy in Terra Vesta this past summer. One of the smaller lots on Romaine that backs, I believe it's like the apartment building with the wine tasting or whatever it is. And that sold for $414,000. Now, I can't speak on behalf of what the change will be, things like that, but those I know were 414, 417 range, and those were a little bit more narrow. So again, don't quote me on what everything will or could be, but give you some perspective on a more narrow, there's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, unfinished basement. I believe it was stubbed for a full bath and lower level as well. So hard surface countertops, what you'd expect in, I would say, a new build in today's day and age. So like 414, 417 on Romaine are those skinnier lots. So it gives you, I guess, some perspective maybe on a similar product, I guess. So
yeah, it's helpful. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I respect the opinions of the fellow commissioners, but I support the project. I think, yes, 6 more units might seem minimal, but from a cost perspective, $40,000 can be the difference between someone being able to get a mortgage and not getting a mortgage. And I think the more units on the lot, each unit is going to be slightly smaller in size, and I think that potentially leads to more affordability. We need more homes overall, and we certainly need more small homes in our community. And I think that 6 units is minimal enough that I think it won't be a stress on things like the traffic amounts, but I think it's enough add that you could potentially reduce the price and potentially allow some homeowners to live in this wonderful community and near a fantastic park and near public transit and near all these great, potential future businesses that are going to go in just east. So I support the project. Thanks.
Thank you.
So picking up on, Carol, your comment about fewer units make twin homes, I don't understand what happens then. Are you saying instead of these 2 single-family units, and I don't mean to pick on you, Carol, anybody into this, instead of the 2 single units, you combine them to like what I grew up thinking of as duplexes? So you still have the same number of people, but the structures would be less? Is that?
Cost, yeah. It's cheaper to build one building and split it in half than it is to build 2 separate buildings. So you've got that much fewer, that much less siding, that much less roofing, all of those. So it can help the cost overall.
But you potentially have the same number of
Correct.
people living in this area. It's just instead of 2 separate buildings, you have them combined. And that's how you get to 54, is that?
I'm saying that reduces the cost.
No, but.
So you can get down to 54 and be the same profitability or same cost per unit by having a little bit, cheaper expenses on the front end of how you're building it by doing duplex instead of single.
Okay, I see what you're
That's where I was trying to get to.
Okay, Josh, next.
So is that true from a sales perspective, though? I mean, are those half of a duplex selling for more, so then you're actually making a higher profitability, or does the cost go down commensurate with the savings in build?
I don't know. Can you answer that, Fred?
Typically, the market will dictate everything, but in theory, a duplex is not a whole lot less expensive than building 2 homes. You save 1 foundation wall, you might save a window or 2, and you save sidings, but then you have a 2-hour fire separation between the 2, and fire separation walls cost money. Do duplexes, does a condominiumize, you'd have to condominiumize the building, so that adds costs, because you have to have a surveyor and legal documents. There's a little more cost that you otherwise wouldn't have. But does a duplex unit with the exact same finishes, if it were 2 houses slightly smaller put together, then go to the market and sell for a lower price? Probably. Do I know that exact number? No. It's up to the market to dig.
I can add to that.
But I was just going to say, Jordan might have some ideas, but in theory, it's going to be a little bit lower.
So again, there's going to be slight differences. Each home, each land is always going to be unique. That's the inherent beauty of real estate. But 4886 Romaine Road in Fitchburg sold for $407,000 in November of 2023. It's a single-family property. Another property sold in July, end of July 2023. It is a half duplex on Frizzy Drive, so same neighborhood, same year build situation there. That sold for $405,000. So in terms of like a differential price, the duplexes in today's day and age do tend to sell at I would argue, a higher cost than what we'd like. But the reality, like Fred was saying, quite frankly, it's just because the market's driving up costs so much that the spread between a single family and duplex is unfortunately shrinking. So, in that situation, there's not too much of a spread between single family and duplex. So, still pretty expensive on the duplex side if you're thinking about privacy and things of that nature.
Okay, so we need to vote on 5A. Any other comment about 5A? Okay, so we are going to do roll call, please.
Do we need a motion?
Let's do it.
What?
So I'm going to just hop in so I can clarify.
What
We'll need a motion on.
Yeah, I need a motion, yeah.
On 5A, which is the Plan Commission resolution, and then we'll need a motion and a vote on the Common Council ordinance just for recommendation. And then we'll have to also do a motion and a vote on item B for the Comprehensive Development Plan.
I move approval of Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0124. And are there conditions, Deanna?
There are not conditions.
Okay,
There are
just,
not
it's just the
conditions.
money.
Second.
Okay, so so because there are some people that they are against, so in favor of this, so we are going to do roll call, please.
Okay. Shelley Malowski.
Aye.
Stephen, I'm sorry, I skipped you.
No.
Gabriella.
Aye.
Zach.
Aye.
Carol.
No.
And, I just lost.
Josh.
Josh.
Aye.
And Julia.
And Julia.
Aye. Okay, 5-2. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, so which is next one?
I move approval of ordinance 2024-003.
Second.
Any additional comments on that? No? Okay, so roll call.
Okay. Stephen Heller.
No.
Shelley Malowski.
Aye.
Gabriella Gerhardt.
Aye.
Josh Knackert.
Aye.
Zach Billings.
Aye.
And then Julia Aradafada.
Carol.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Carol. Sorry.
Okay, 5-2, the motion carries. Okay, thank you. So next we move to 5B. So do you want to add any other comment about 5B? No? Diana?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
No? Okay.
No other comments.
Okay.
I'll move approval of Comprehensive Development Plan CDP 2532-24. Oh, I'm sorry. With the how many?
7.
7 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. So we are doing roll call, please.
Sure. Stephen Heller.
No.
Shelley Malowski,
Aye.
Gabriella Gerhart,
Aye.
Zach Billings,
Aye.
Carol,
No.
and Josh Knacker,
Aye.
Mayor Julia Rada.
Aye. So 5-2, the motion carries. So next one.
So that's item A and B.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
thank you. So next, we move to C. Is another public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2024-0-06 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR-04-24, adopting and recommending the Spring 2024 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Plan Map 4.3, Future Land Use Plan Map for property associated with 2735 Rimrock Road from low-density residential to medium-density residential. So, okay, so I am opening the public hearing, and we have lots of people here. So they want to speak. This is.
Yeah, he registered too.
Okay.
But I guess he stepped away.
Okay, so I'm gonna call, 3 minutes. I'm gonna call you through the microphone. So I'm gonna call Shally Host. She wishes to register only. She said that she doesn't want high density ever. Okay, this is okay. Diana Peace, she wishes to speak. I don't know about this.
He says no.
No? No? Okay. Thank you. Harvey Matthew? I don't know. I cannot read the. He wishes to register only and is in opposition. David Bambro, he wishes to speak in support. Okay. And then I'm going to call Jennifer Russell. Also, she wishes to speak in support. I don't know where is Jennifer. Here, you can come, Jennifer, to the microphone too.
They have met with us and talked about our concerns, and they've addressed them.
Okay, that's it?
So we're pretty much in agreement with them.
Okay.
And I understood that you didn't let our alderman know about this, or didn't send
What?
him stuff, so he was kind of left out of the loop.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Nope. All that information is public, so.
My name is Jennifer Russell. I'm here as supporting the change from the low to the medium density. The developers have come and met with the people in the neighborhood. It sounds like they have addressed all the issues. I do like the new plan that they have developed, and I do think it would be good for the neighborhood. Pretty much.
Oh, thank you. I will call Tyler Franklin, wishes to speak in support. And then Sean Higgins also wishes to speak in support.
Hi, thank you. My name is Tyler Franklin. I'm a senior at UW-Madison. I've been working with the developers on this project as my capstone with the Department of Planning and Landscape Architecture. I just want to first comment on the fact that these two developers have just been working tirelessly. They're dedicated to this project. They're tenacious in getting this done and sort of enhancing the neighborhood. And I've been really proud to work with them and to get to a point that we could, find the support. My focus is often on cultivating a design that will promote resident well-being, connectivity, as well as, adding to amenities to promote recreation. My work with them, they were focused right away on engagement with the neighborhood and the community to ensure that, they were going to create a plan that coincides with the existing neighborhood. So this conceptual design, this framework that we're proposing here would enter into medium density zoning qualifications is sort of the culmination of that process and how we can sort of best suit the existing neighborhood while also sort of fitting into the future of Fitchburg. And when I speak of suiting the existing neighborhood, I really want to, not only enhance what's there already, but, give people there something to get excited about. And I'm really happy to hear that people are excited about this. With improved or maintained sight lines, the minimization of traffic, appropriate parking, and versatile housing types, I really think we're adding depth to an already strong neighborhood. The proposed townhouses closer to Rimrock Road, sort of transitioning to single-family homes as we get closer to that existing neighborhood, I think creates a natural buffer and a natural transition to suit the aesthetic of the neighborhood. This project would also create an attractive residential option for those in Madison and particularly the Fitchburg markets. And I just want to end by saying that this change from low to medium density does not reflect the desire to increase the construction footprint. The goal has always been to remain in that 17,000 to 24,000 square feet of construction on the nearly 100,000 square foot property, right? So that's less than 1/4 of this site that's dedicated to actual construction footprint. So I think that, this allows for a density that emphasizes connectivity and resilience, but also adds, a green space for the future of Fitchburg. Thanks.
Thank you.
Evening, everybody. Thank you for the chance to speak about this amendment request, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for being here tonight. Whether you're behind the desk or in the audience, without your attendance, public meetings like this, at public meetings like this, when the planning process just doesn't work. The fact that you make time in your professional, your appointed, elected, and personal lives to come to meetings like this is really critical to planning the future of our communities. My name is Sean Higgins. I'm a practicing urban planner. I work for the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission, but that's not why I'm here tonight. I am here as a university instructor and advisor to Tyler. This past fall, I had the honor of teaching one of the graduate level urban design courses in the Department of Planning and Landscape Architecture. The department just down the street has been a real force in planning and design professions for decades now. But that department's influence isn't just limited to the classroom. The Wisconsin Idea, which many of you I'm sure are probably familiar with, aims to influence and put that influence and knowledge into practice, influencing lives outside of just the four walls of the classroom. And that's how I ended up here. Tyler, who you just heard from, has been working on behalf of the city with the developer and the residents and businesses in the area. So I'm speaking in support of the conceptual design for this project for many reasons, and most of those you'll probably hear about when the developer presents the project. So the point I want to emphasize is the process that's gotten us here. The development team worked with the neighbors, the business owners, to arrive at a preliminary design concept that addresses concerns that were expressed and the desires of the various parties involved. So to date, the process has brought together professionals with unique expertise, outside entities such as the Department of Planning and Landscape Architecture for additional perspective and assistance, and people whose homes and businesses are affected by development along the Rimrock Road corridor. The development team has gone door to door and held multiple meetings with neighborhood residents. They've reworked the design concept several times over and have arrived in a place that balances the city's desires, the long-range plan consistency, neighborhood concerns, and economic viability. So to date, this project has been a great example of what good planning process looks like. The development team has demonstrated a commitment to collaboration, creative solutions, and a compromise. So these factors, I think, will serve the city well as this project works its way through further refinement. So I'd urge the Plan Commission to adopt and recommend for approval by your council this amendment to the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to mention that we received a document with the neighborhood support for this development for medium density. We have different neighbors by road, so there are plenty of support here. So I want to say thank you, and this is part of the minute. I will call Luke Heyer, who wishes to speak in support, and also I want to call Alder J. Allen, who wishes to speak in support. So you can come to the microphone. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I own the property at 2725 Rimrock Road. It's the one just adjacent to the north. It shares the longest border with the property that this change is for. I'm in support of it. My only concern, and I've heard through the rumor mill that if this southern 2 acres gets developed, that it could have a negative effect on the 3 acres to the north because the county might not want traffic going directly onto Rimrock Road. They would want it going to the Maloney to the south. So that's why I'm asking for support under the condition that the appropriate traffic or utility easements are in place. Otherwise, those 3 acres to the north currently have 2 homes on 3 acres, and they might not be able to support much more than that. So that's just a concern I want to bring up. Otherwise, I'm in support of what they're doing.
Okay, thank you very much.
And free for any questions.
Okay. Alder Allen, please.
Yeah, Jay Allen. I live at 5122 Lacey Road. I'm here in support of this now. I was quite opposed to this previously because the previous proposal for this was an absolute disaster despite the rosy picture that the 2 previous speakers wanted to paint for you. When this proposal first came to light and was presented to me just about a year ago, I told the developer, the very first thing that I said to the developer in the very first email was that they needed to work to get neighborhood support, which they simply would not do. So fortunately, over the last month or so, they've been meeting with the neighbors and have gotten neighborhood support, and that was all that we asked for. So I think the proposal will be a good addition. I do agree with the previous speakers' comments that we need to think this out a little more clearly, which is why I really wanted to get the update to the Southdale neighborhood plan done before we started working on this. But maybe we can work through some of that through the more specific planning that will be done as this project moves forward. So that was all I wanted to say to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, we got another email in support from Ted Case. Okay. So now we are going to call the developers, Chad Ali and Aisha Liakal. Liakal? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thank you so much. My name is Aisha. I'm the developer behind this project. I really appreciate all the comments today and everybody that's come out and shown support. As you all know, it's been about longer than a year since the process first started, but now we're really at a point where we have some confidence from the neighborhood and confidence in the new plan that was submitted, and I'm happy to share it if you all haven't seen it. But the new site plan removed any commercial buildings and is a commitment to maintaining a medium density 20-unit maximum. We did introduce, thank you to Chad Brecklin, who kind of gave this idea of introducing like middle housing and just a combination of housing. So we have single family homes towards the east where the existing neighborhood is single family, and then it transitions into townhomes as we move to the medium and higher density towards Rimrock Road. And then we have added a lot of green space, which was really something that the neighbors wanted. They wanted the sightlines to be attractive, the visual from Maloney and Rimrock to be attractive. So we have accommodated all of the requests that came in, and I think we're all at a point where we feel good about this plan. And as I mentioned, we did get neighborhood support. I did submit that document which you referenced. We also got support from the businesses around to make sure that they were looking at a product that would suit their employees and workers around the area. So again, this is owner-occupied, condominium-style housing, and just offers a variety to the members of the community. And I'm happy to answer any questions and details once we get to that point.
Okay. Do you want to speak of your...
I just want to add one thing, that we both have made a commitment with the neighbors
that if approved, we will stick to these 20 units. We will not ask for any commercial use or higher density. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So, staff.
Good evening, everyone. Similar to the proposal from fall 2023, this is a minor comprehensive plan that proposes the two parcels located at the corner of Rimrock and Maloney Road be designated from low-density residential to medium-density residential. That medium-density residential would allow the 20-unit residential development. So just want to point out a couple of items here. The Southdale Neighborhood Plan assigns a land use of urban residential district for these parcels, along with the other parcels just to the north on Rimrock. The properties to the urban residential district differs from low-density residential in our comprehensive plan in that it encourages slightly higher density urban residential, such as low and mid-rise condos or slightly smaller single-family. So this shift to medium-density residential on this parcel does align with the overall intent of the Southdale Neighborhood Plan. And an updated site plan was furnished by the applicants. This plan does include a reorientation of the previous plan to allow more open space and then several detached structures. Staff notes that on that proposed plan, there does leave the option for a private street to extend to the north. The traffic considerations still would need to be worked through, but I believe that this current site plan would allow, if needed, some traffic utility connection to the north. We still will need to work out. I don't think, in my experience, that the parcels to the north will lose their driveways onto Rimrock. That's just some details that we'll still have to work out. In previous proposal, staff noted that the site plan does not comply with the land division ordinance, which requires that every lot front on or abut a public street. Similarly, this proposal would require condominium ownership that we have been discussing this evening. Staff does request that Plan Commission consider Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0424 and then also make a recommendation to Council on Ordinance 2024-006. And I am happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so any questions?
So far as the access to the north side lots to the Maloney Road is concerned, that we don't have any authority in that. The neighbors have always opposed it, and we stand with the neighbors. If the people on the north side of our property, they can convince the neighbors, then we don't have an issue with that. But they should talk to the neighbors.
Okay, so
all of the support that the developer has garnered from the neighborhood was based on the understanding that we would not be dumping more than his development onto Maloney Drive. And any change to that underlying premise would be a stab in the back of the neighborhood.
There is no way.
And I will stand with the neighbors.
One at a time, please. And if you want to speak, you need to come to the microphone. Diana, do you want to?
You heard what I said.
So I'd just like to add that nobody has approached us for the easement, just so you know.
I want to understand what they are talking because I don't. Can you explain what is going on?
Okay, so it's my understanding that the current that this current proposal has the support of the neighborhood if and only if no other traffic comes out onto Maloney except that which is these 20 units.
Okay, so what is the issue?
What I was trying to just address was the concern for the neighbors for the neighbor property owner to the north.
Can you put the map again there so everyone we know what we're talking about?
I certainly can. Let me just.
Okay, we are going to clarify this.
I'd like to second what Harvey said.
Okay.
We're in agreement.
We are going to clarify this now with the map.
We got everything worked
What
out.
about the other one?
So don't screw it up.
Oh, okay, so these are the two lots, and what was the question was whether or not the development of these lots and what that would look like.
Oh, okay. So they are, in the case in the future, they are connected, and all those, there are future housing on those parcels, they can drive through this development?
That was what was considered, yes. The city is not in support of it.
Okay, this is what I said, but yeah, okay. I don't think that is.
And that would be because they don't, those two parcels to the north or three.
Three, yeah.
There's three driveways right now, at least, right? Because there's three parcels. So they empty onto Rimrock today. Would they, if that all got developed as one, would you not have like one access point off of Rimrock to service those? I'm asking from a city point of view. Is that not what we would want as the city in that case?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Because, I'm just thinking through this, right? Like these two get developed, what's going to happen next? The three properties to the north get developed, and I think we're all in agreement saying, why the heck would you develop something today and then run a street through it
exactly
in 5 years from now when those get developed?
No,
Okay.
We are not going to do
We're all
that.
in agreement.
So no, it doesn't make any logic and sense. So, okay. So any question, Shelley?
I have a question. When you were here before, you referred to the housing as workforce housing, and I know there was a lot of discussion about what that means, but I read somewhere that this proposal, you're proposing market rate.
Yes.
So can you just explain the difference between that? We have the same number of units here.
Sure.
And we may have just cost people more money in trying to buy these homes.
So when we initially submitted this, there was a commercial space and then there was living units. And the idea that the city brought to us was like if we could develop this into workforce housing, there was like a study done around that, and the price points we were given were about $375 to $425 is what we were working with. Then in the last Common Council meeting, Alder Allen mentioned that this would not be feasible for the general public. That does not make as much per household to be able to afford anything over, I think, with the 150 to 175,000 basically range. So building something less than 200,000 right now is in this market is just not feasible. So then our property wouldn't be workforce feasible. So that's why we were asked not to refer to this property or this suggestion as workforce housing. And we took that and we changed our verbiage and, of course, made it market level housing, which would suffice the verbiage that we use, basically.
So you're looking at the same price point, you're just calling it something else?
Taking out the commercial space, the price point does come up with these being market housing. We still want to keep it lower than market housing, but Terra Vista, again, keeps coming up very close to our property. So we have been looking at that as an example for price points. And again, there's a range between the single family and the townhomes and any additions that people pick and how they want to make their individual houses different. But I would say it would be in the mid 450s to higher, depending on the market. We don't exactly know what the city is going to require us from, like the facades and the sidings and fire zones, and also all of that comes at the later stage of the architectural drawings. And we have been working with the city diligently, and we intend to continue doing so.
Okay. I don't think there was agreement as to exactly what workforce housing means and affordable housing, but.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're saying the price point now is going up?
Yes, yes, and we were asked not to refer to this as workforce housing, so we're adhering to lessons learned from previous sessions.
Any question? Steven, no? No? So, okay, so I want to thank you for, your compromising and talking to the neighbors, and it's great that you guys, are supporting this development. So thank you.
I'll move to approve resolution PCR-02-24.
Second.
So all those in favor of, we are doing what?
That was resolution.
The resolution.
Thank you.
All those in favor of supporting the resolution PCR-0424, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-0-04.
Second.
All those in favor of approving ordinance 2024-0-06, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So thank you. You are approved. Okay, so next we move to another public hearing. What?
Did we get a second? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry.
So next we move to another public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2024-0-04 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR-0204 adopting and recommending the Spring 2024 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending map 4.3 future land use plan map for property located off Oak Meadow Drive, specifically from medium density residential to low density residential. So, okay, so do we have anyone from D?
You have Chris Dawson online.
Okay, we have Chris Dawson online. He's going to be presenting, isn't it? Are you the developer, Chris? Yes?
He represents the
Okay.
developer.
I'm a representative of the developer, yeah.
Okay, and then do we have any other one here? No? Okay. Okay. So, okay, Chris, can you tell us about what it is, this project, this amendment?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. So this is addressing a 3.7 acre parcel currently called out in the comp plan for medium density residential. The history behind that is that it was intended to be a continuation of the Oak Meadows condos, which on this slide you can see is the orange area to the southeast of this area. The property owner would like to turn this into more of a single family home development, and to do so would like to rezone it as residential low to medium density. In order to do that, that needs to fall under the low density residential for the comp plan. So what we are proposing, the preliminary plans right now would call for 11 single family homes and a variety of outlots to serve them for stormwater management. And a second outlot is really mostly a remnant parcel that lends itself more to the city's future plans for development along Fish Hatchery Road, if they so choose. The initial plans for the continuation of the condos were to add 20 to 30 condo units that would be fed by an alley through the back and connecting out to Sawtooth Drive. Obviously, reducing this down to 11 single-family homes reduces the density fairly significantly, but aligns with the character of the surrounding neighborhood to the northwest. And I guess is a bit of a rarity these days that we're going from more dense to less dense, but kind of keep it short and sweet here and open it up to questions as needed.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So we are going to do a staff report.
Chris covered a fairly simple proposal. So just to be clear, there's not a change of zoning here. What is being changed is the future land use from medium density to low density residential. It's my understanding that at this point, the landowner is just not in a position to continue the condos as originally planned. The parcel would need to go through a rezoning process in addition to a platting process to create those 11 lots. And so staff is asking for Plan Commission to take action on the Plan Commission resolution and then also provide a recommendation to council on the ordinance.
Okay, any question, comments? Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, everyone here except for Carol and I voted for that first project because you all said we need more housing. So why are we saying we need less housing an hour later? I have to ask because I think the only thing I heard is that the developer, the current landowner, didn't feel like they could continue with the condo. You can't put more, I mean, to me, this just seems kind of backwards. Like, can somebody explain to me why we've just fought for the last hour and a half talking about how we need more housing stock, and now we're going to say we want less of it here? I don't understand this one.
Chris or Diana, I know that this parcel has been vacant for many years. And this is the only project that is coming forward. And I think that what they told us is that, for condos, it's going to be difficult to. They have a different housing stock in that area. I don't know, you have known that area. So there is a diversity of housing there. There are some density there too. But so far, this is the only project that has come forward in many years. So I don't know.
And even, I guess,
no, I
understand that too.
Yeah.
If you don't want to make a condo,
Yeah.
but aren't we saying this is 11 units? What I saw in the packet that raised my eyes a little bit was the area's newly proposed density would be roughly 3 dwelling units per acre. So we're going to put third acre lots. That's what I'm hearing, is that each one of these houses would roughly be about a third of an acre. I don't know how many people here have chastised our half-acre lots in this city and how we should not be building those. Well, a third is rather close. So what I'm getting at is that I'm fine if you want to do single-family homes here, which would match the rest of the area, but wouldn't we as a planning board want to push for maybe quarter-acre lots, which means we could get 15 units in here instead of 11? Like, that's kind of where I'm at.
I think I can answer that question. Because in order to create the lots, they have to front on a public street. And the problem is the lots would have to get very, very narrow.
Got it.
And it's just not a buildable lot.
Okay. Can you repeat again?
Okay. Can you guys? Maybe you're not gonna let me. Never mind. It's gonna be just as easy. Sorry. Let me try to explain.
Okay.
So every single lot, an individual lot, needs to front on a public street, which is here and here. Okay. And the lots would have to get so narrow and long in order to do 15 that essentially they would not be buildable lots. Okay. So it has to do with the depth from the street that brings us to the point where relatively they're large, but they're very deep lots.
I don't want to take us on a rabbit hole here, but there's a house in mine and in my neighborhood that is also kind of similar. If you want to just pull up on Google Maps, 2928 Osmondson. Because I would love to see, I don't want to take us on this rabbit hole, it's going to be a long enough meeting, but I just have to know how we could say that this is a house that faces the street, and yet we couldn't accommodate anything of the same sort, and we're going to be pushing for low density in this one. I hate to hang this up, but this is really kind of weird.
So what was the?
2928 Osmondson.
2928.
Maybe we consider that little driveway of theirs part of Osmondson, but it's not listed as a street.
Oh, this is a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that one?
I did have it up there, sorry.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one where it's not facing McKee. It wasn't like an old one. That's been developed in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So that's the type of thing where I'm going, somehow we worked around it here to get that house in there, and it's an Osmondson address, obviously. I point out things like this because...
Yeah.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's a weird one.
And it'd be so different if that house was like, oh, that's from 1920, and we had to work around it because it was part of PD. That's a new development, just like everything else on Osmondson.
Or 30. That one is
30 years, 40 maybe tops.
40 years old.
It could be before. I don't think that'd be before. Well, maybe.
Could be
So
county
I
zoning.
guess the follow-up question is if we're going to encourage that, which I'm totally in support of a higher density of single family, right? Would that push us outside of the low density range that we're talking about here and push us back into a medium density? Or when this comes before us, should we just be encouraging them to work towards the higher end of low density based on the limitations of this parcel?
But this is why we are going from medium to low, so we can allow those lots.
Right.
Otherwise, you know.
And I guess I think what they're proposing now is on the lower end, so we could maybe make a request that if they can fit lots in this, I guess I don't know, maybe that's undesirable to the city, but if they can fit more lots on this land in kind of an unconventional way, that would be our encouragement then.
Yeah, multifamily.
There is some room in there, some wiggle room under low density, if that's the answer.
Yeah, can I ask the developer why not build condo? Because I feel like that's not, I never hear that. So I'm curious why you don't want to build something higher density.
It's a fair question. As was stated, the lot has effectively sat vacant for, I want to say it's been 10 years now. And the market just hasn't been what he would like to see. And this is a way to create the space for people to bring in and build what they would like to see, rather than him dictating it is really the sum of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you have a developer to start, do you have a project going on? It's coming in this year or next year?
The intent is that this would be subdivided and the lots would be sold to landowners themselves, and they would be able to build the house of their choosing, obviously within the zoning restrictions.
Oh.
So how many, if it was developed as condominiums, how many units would there be? How many households?
So
The original intent was 20 to 30. Deanna might have a better record of that history.
So this is a big change.
Yeah.
3.7 acres times 5 to 9 versus 1 to 4.
Someone has been doing the math.
I'm for this area getting developed, but it's also, this again is not an, I can't say the same thing, that it's not like we haven't had anything come to us as a proposal. So it's not like some hot, heavy, everyone wants to build here. But this is also not, you show me a map of Fitchburg and I'm not going to say, that's the area we can't find anyone to want to build a house. And I don't get why we're hearing that the developer, developer can't find a way to do a condo, but yet almost every other suggestion, anything else that we see as a body is to build a condo or apartment somewhere else in town. This just feels like a disconnect to me. And I feel like I'm talking too much, so I should be quiet and not everyone else
this is a good comment. It's a good comment, and I agree. When I saw this coming to me, I have the same thought,
Yeah, I would agree with Stephen. I struggle with this one. I mean, I get that the lot is not great for single-family homes, so that's why they're huge, but it just feels like there's got to be a way to fit more on here. The land condo thing or whatever it is, I don't know. I struggle with this one.
Okay. Carol?
I think Gabby was ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. This is especially because this is walkable. There's restaurants around here. There's businesses. There could potentially be bus lines coming down this far. It's a great place to add density, and right now it is probably not as dense as I would prefer it, given what the type of area that this could become over time. So yeah, I also agree. I just can't believe that there's no way to develop something higher density. It's hard for me to believe.
Carol?
And I disagree, so I'll be the odd man out. I tend to look at these from zoom out this map. I don't want to look at just this little thing right here. I want to look at the whole thing contextually, how it impacts the entire neighborhood and the entire area. There are already a bunch of condos over there. You've got 64 units in 2 blocks, you know, and I look at it like if we can fit 3 really nice single-family homes, or maybe 4 when they come in and do the plat and they actually look at the land, look at the engineering, look at what we can do with setbacks to try to maybe get a 4th house in there, or they might figure out a way to get 5. You're still going to need the frontage. You're still going to need stormwater. You're still going to need green space. So I don't have a problem with this one in particular. And it is true, we don't downzone very often, but this is one that I don't have an issue with.
So the parcel in question, if you can all see my cursor here, City Hall is up here. The new Encompass Rehabilitation Hospital is right here. So yeah, there's the existing condos that are here and existing condos here. City Park right here. So this is the area in question.
On that land, are there any grade issues?
I am
like
not
towards
aware.
the back? Is there any grade issue?
I'm not aware. I know that there is drainage swale to the back.
So it's possible that that's where the stormwater would go?
I think they're talking about doing the stormwater up here.
Gotcha.
But then it's going to have to serve storm through here. And then it leaves this kind of funky leftover outlot if they were to move in this direction, that would be available for redevelopment of all of these parcels. So the idea would be to create an outlot that would be potentially available if these lots ever redevelop.
What are those other parcels? What is?
Houses.
They're homes?
Yeah, they're houses.
Okay. Yeah, I like.
Deanna, if you wouldn't mind, can you bring up the exhibit, the very last page of the exhibit packet for this agenda item? I believe that will help visualize a little bit of it in terms of where that pond is, at least. But generally, the grade does go to the north, and will capture some of the overflow from the condo association that currently exists. I would like to note that at our public meeting, it was very well attended, particularly by the neighboring condo associations. And by all accounts, the general consensus was that they didn't want more condos, interestingly enough. So I don't know if that will help ease anyone's mind for this proposal or what purpose it may serve, but something to certainly weigh, I suppose, in the discussion.
What is the direction of that? I don't.
North is to the right.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, here.
Where is Fish Hatchery? Here?
I'm going to turn you around. Okay. There we go.
Okay, please. Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. Has there been any talk about the iHeartMedia property on the corner? Because I heard 2-3 years ago that we were starting to have talks about that being possibly sold off, and then what would that look like?
It's on sale, but most of the people that approach to buy that property, they want high density. You know, they have to build high density.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That one is.
What I'm getting at there is that is a development that won't be too far off, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And so again, sorry, Carol, using your own words against you, but zooming out, as a plan body, I just think about that. If that's going to be either industrial, commercial, or it's probably high density, it's going to be something on that corner. So again, we like to use high to medium to low as kind of that buffering, and that's where I looked at this and it was like, oh, coming off of Fish Hatch, if those 3 individual parcels get developed, they're going to have to be a medium to high because they're right on Fish Hatch, just like what's south of there, those existing condos. I always like that kind of transition, and so this would provide that continued buffer of medium. But I mean, I could see either way, I guess. But just to point that out of like looking at the larger space, if we have high density to the north of this, medium to the east, are we going to be okay saying that, we want single family homes on the backside of that?
I mean, I agree that this is the place to infill with more density, but I don't know what I think about this. I'm asking as a newer member. We have a property owner who has held this for 10 years, I don't know how does that weigh that we're making decisions so that land is not useful to them after all these years. But on the other hand, I question how hard they tried to develop it, and were they trying to develop it for condos at too high of a cost, and that's why it didn't work. I mean, I struggle with the competing interests. I think as a city, though, this is where we should have higher density. I don't mean high density, but medium density. But I don't know what that says about the property owner's interest.
Can I also just clarify? It looks like those 3 houses that run along Fish Hatch are slated to be high density later. Am I seeing that shading right?
You are, Josh.
So that portion is already high density. The assumption is to the north will likely turn high density if and when that sale happens.
A future land use, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm going to just put up the future land use map. So this is the parcel that right here that is in question. It is currently medium density residential in our future land use map. These single family lots over here, for as long as I know, have been slated as high density residential. And right now, the iHeart property is low density residential. So staff has been working under the proposition and under the thinking that iHeartRadio would be redeveloped as, at some point, after, of course, a minor comprehensive plan update, that high density would be closer up to the detention pond and then transition down to an appropriate scale to the low density houses that are here. Staff does not envision the entire iHeart property would be high density residential.
Can I ask a follow-on on that? Because I'm wondering if some of what they're thinking about is the swale that they think is going to have to go kind of right in between these 2 properties. If we were to think of developing that iHeart property in that mixed way, is there an assumption that we would potentially be putting stormwater, like large enough stormwater to run to that retention pond? Or is the belief that that would have to kind of cut through overland, in between those areas?
I think that's a really good question, and I don't know enough about the overall detention and stormwater flows in this area to answer it. I don't know that pond, I don't know if that water needs to go to that pond or not. Chris, do you know?
That to a degree. So the outlot that we have sized for the northern portion of this parcel is sized in order to accommodate a properly sized bioretention, which will allow us to meet the infiltration requirements as well as stormwater storage requirements for this development.
Which one is that?
He's talking about the one that's up here.
Which one? That, the orange one.
Outlot 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing that a higher density does do is you would actually increase your impervious area and you will need more space for stormwater treatment within this parcel. So there are certainly trade-offs when you go denser. We have accounted for the stormwater needs so far, and we have had those conversations with Public Works to ensure we're meeting the right requirements because we do have regional treatment at that pond north of the iHeart property.
So the way I look at this is we can force the density into the new development on the corner. And if we properly transition it, it's not going to be any more of a different change than it's going to be to the west or to the south of what's already there. And if the market is already there to put these in, I think we go with what we can develop now and plan the density on the backside and force it into that north parcel.
And to Stephen's size question, I only see one at 0.3, just to reassure some of our sizing on this.
Gabriela.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate Carol's comments. I mean, more housing is better. Like, we just don't have enough housing of any type in Dane County. So, and I do, but I wonder, is it possible to do an update for that iHeart property so that we know what that zoning looks like? Because I'd see, 2 years down the road, these new neighbors having bought and thought that was going to be single-family homes.
So normally we don't, we don't normally do a minor comp plan amendment unless it's requested by the property owner.
Okay.
And so right now, the iHeart property is low-density residential. Normally, we wouldn't bring forward such a change unless we had a willing property owner and in some sort of potential development. Certainly, when we go into any sort of comprehensive plan update, which we're hoping to get started later this year, we can take a look at that too through that process.
But the other thing is going to say, yeah, there is a lot of attention to that corner, but it's coming, they want high density. So, and this is still on sale because I think the price of the land is very expensive in that corner. But the interest is not about building residential houses there. It's more like high density. So okay.
Is there an answer to, have they tried to develop this? I mean, have they tried everything they could, and the only way that they can make use of their property is for us to do this? Or have they been holding on, waiting?
It's up to you. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel comfortable, vote it down. You know what I mean? If you don't feel that this is the correct use for this
I understand
lot,
that, but
you know what I mean? So
I understand that, but like I said, there's a tension between the property interest and what's good for the city, and I'm trying to figure out the facts for both.
Okay. Any other comments? Are you ready? Okay. So we're gonna do roll call in this one too.
Can we do a motion then?
Oh, I need a motion. Oh, no one want to bring a motion.
Well, hell, to get the ball rolling, I'll move to approve Resolution PCR-02-24.
Second.
Okay, so we are voting first the PCR, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, but that would be the PCR, and I'm going to go the other way. Josh Knackert.
Aye.
Carol Poole.
Aye.
Zach Billingsley.
Aye.
Gabriella Gerhardt.
Aye.
Shelley Malowski.
Aye.
Stephen Heller.
No.
And Julia Radafrada.
Aye. Okay, so next we move to the next one. What is the ordinance?
Yep.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-0-04.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, Josh Knackert.
Aye.
Carol Poole.
Aye.
Zach Billingsley.
Aye.
Gabriella Gerhardt.
Aye.
Shelley Malowski.
Aye.
Stephen Heller.
No.
And Julia Radafrada.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chris. So next.
Thank you all for your time.
So the motion is approved, 6-1. Okay. So next we move to another public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2024-0-05 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR-03-24, adopting and recommending the Spring 2024 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan Map for a portion of a property located at 5540 Lacey Road, specifically from Parks and Conservancy to governmental institutional. Okay, so I think the only person who is going to speak is you.
Is me. Yes. You only get me this evening. So this is a minor comp plan amendment to change the parcel just across the street here at the corner of Lacey and Research Park Drive. We would be changing a portion of the parcel from parks and open space to government institutional. And this is the proposed site for the police facilities, for the police services facility. It would be the same future land use as what is across the street, governmental institutional. This parcel was dedicated as parkland by the second amendment, the second addition to the Fitchburg technology plat in 1996. Staff determined that these lands were not dedicated for parkland impact fees, so they weren't related to any housing. And then the parkland dedication was released by Dane County Circuit Court last August 2023. Staff notes that under the current CARP-C Capital Area Regional Plan Commission maps, the entire site is included in the environmental corridor. Staff is in discussion with CARP-C, and it was determined that the property is designated environmental corridor for two different reasons. One was the first one for the dedication as parkland, and the second one was to dedicate Nine Springs Creek and its buffer. So what we are requesting is to take those former parklands. They would be removed from the park and open space, and then CARP-C has agreed to remove those land areas also from their environmental corridor maps. Here's the Nine Springs Creek. All of this area of the property would remain an environmental corridor. So what is before you is to change just a portion of that parcel to government institutional. And so staff would be requesting consideration of the resolution, the Plan Commission resolution, and then also the ordinance. And I'm happy to take any questions about this.
Any question, comments? We need to do this in order.
I have a question. Why conservancy land? Why not land that isn't part of a conservancy? Just seems like, problematic to me.
I'll do my best to speak to that. So these lands, of course, were dedicated to the city as parkland, and they were not it was determined that those lands weren't necessary to remain as parkland in terms of their overall dedication. So these are lands that are close to already the existing city campus. They're already in city ownership. And so it was determined that this would be a suitable site for the new police services facility.
So probably came down to it was already owned land, so It's more affordable.
Yes, correct.
Is there a possibility to put a stipulation that whatever is built here tries to minimize impervious surface and has more, either water retention or filtration so that it doesn't overload Nine Springs right there and potentially, cause flooding or kind of turn that area into too much of I don't want to say swamp, but I guess kind of change the ecosystem, honestly?
Certainly, whatever gets built here, I think staff is hopeful that we can incorporate as many sustainable features and limit impervious surface, but certainly whatever gets built here will meet all of our stormwater and infiltration requirements, so that would not negatively impact the creek.
Also, the original plan for the schematic design for the police facility was 74,000 square feet, and now it's going to be reduced drastically because we only have $35 million. So that's, the building will be reduced maybe, I don't know, I don't know, but it's going to be reduced in size too, so.
Okay. I know that a lot of parking lot was included in the original, so
I
look forward to seeing
Yeah.
that, a new schematic, I guess, to understand how much of this is impervious.
Mhm. Any other comment? Okay, so can someone bring a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution PCR-03-24.
Second.
All those in favor of the resolution PCR-03-24 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one, the ordinance.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-0-05.
Second.
All those in favor of ordinance 2024-0-05 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so next, then we have another one.
This one,
was
Mayor, I'd like to, I'm requesting that Plan Commission postpone this item until the March 19th meeting. Staff will need to renotice this item, and then it will come back in March. So I would just ask that you postpone this item to your March 19th meeting.
I move to postpone ordinance 2024-007 to the March 19th meeting.
All those in favor?
Second.
Okay, second. Okay. All those in favor of postponing say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is postponed.
And I move to postpone PCR 0524 to the March 19th meeting.
Second.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay. All those in favor of postponing PCR? No.
Yeah, I think she did.
PCR 0524 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So, okay, thank you. So now we are in item number G. It's another public hearing and consideration of conditional use, CU-2533-24, request by Tori Van Slyke, agent for Thomas Alt and Mant Family Farm LLC and EDF Renewables, to grant conditional use for a solar utility use on property located on Wayland Road. So there are a couple of people that they are registered to speak. Where is here?
Yep, these are.
All of this? Okay.
Yeah, oh, I got it.
Okay. No, this one is EDF. This is for later.
We're on G and H.
Yeah, G. Okay, so I needed neighbor first. No, this is not neighbor. I want to call Rita Henriks. She wishes to speak in support and in opposition. Okay. And then I am calling Tony Hartman. Is Tony here?
Yeah, Tony.
Okay. She's registered in support. Okay. So Tony and Rita. Okay, Rita.
I'm Rita Hendricks, live at 5655 Montadale in Fitchburg. Many of us are not opposed to solar by any stretch of the imagination. What we are unhappy about is, number one, there was an improper notice. It came in, looked like junk mail, and many people threw the envelope away because of how it looked. The map that was inside of it did not have a key, did not give any streets, did not give any kind of distance as to where anything was. They had a meeting. We were told that it would be from, I think, 3 to 7 or 3 to 6, something like that. Got there, and we were told to wait an hour till someone came that could answer our questions. I was promised that we would get communication. Nothing. Absolutely nothing after that. We wanted questions answered, and I know that I wasn't the only one. Government studies show that there can be a loss of up to 8% of property value if you are near solar and it's put in after your home has been built and whatnot. And They claim that their studies show that there's absolutely no loss. That's hard to believe when it's coming from their own people, because studies in Minnesota, New Jersey, and several other places say up to 8% property value loss. There are people that say over on the Lacey Road one, there's definitely a humming sound. And if that takes away from people's enjoyment of their property, that's a problem. And they say it's a constant humming in some places. This is a very hilly area, and several of us asked if they were going to do grading and whatnot to even it out. And they told us absolutely not, it will be just the way it is. But some of us have a little hard time believing that that's necessarily going to be. They told us they were going to preserve trees, but then they said, oh, well, we're going to take out these and we're going to take out these. So it's an issue of what do we believe? And are they going to change it after they've made these promises? And after what happened, what I saw earlier this evening, it makes me a little bit more nervous, because can you trust that a promise made to a neighborhood is going to be kept? Doesn't look like it is going to be kept. We on Montedale and some of Targhee actually are on the power lines, and so we cannot plant trees back there to screen in any way. They will come through and they will clear cut anything in our backyards. So we don't stand much chance of possibly screening any bit of it. And they are going to do very little screening. We were told that there was going to be a security fence that's going to allow animals to get in and out. Well, if it allows deer, and that's one of the things we asked about, because we have beautiful animals back there, if it allows deers to go through and be in that area, then people could too. So why do you need a security fence if you're allowing animals to go in and out? And those are questions we just feel like should be asked. And, I can tell you right now that some of the property owners along there that we've talked to, and some of the farms and whatnot up there, are saying, they'll come back to the city if our property value goes down. And it's one thing to build a home where you know it's there, but to have it there after the fact, if it decreases property value, then we want our property value lowered. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. I will call Gail Propso. Only wish to make some comments. Okay. I don't know if you're in favor or against.
Right. Well, I kind of feel the same as Rita. It's hard to be against solar, and I don't want to be one of those, not in my backyard, or in this case, in my front yard, people. Would I rather it not be there? Absolutely. But if assuming that we need to expand our renewable energy sources, it will be there. I just want to make some comments to make sure it's the best possible. Just to echo the property value, I did review, Shelley knows me, I'm a policy analyst at heart, so I had to look for the studies, and I did find the study and review it. And there are a lot of arguments about whether or not there's a decrease in property value and how much it is, if it's sort of minimal. But the study that I looked at, which was from the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab at UC Berkeley, and so not connected with any sort of industry or whatever, basically found that the closer you are, obviously, the more the property value goes down. But also, if the development is in a rural area, which it is, if it's land that was used as agricultural use, which it is, and if you're within a quarter of a mile, and if it's on the large end, which this is way larger than they're cut off in the study, that it exacerbates that loss of property value. We're about probably 200 feet from where these units would start. And so I really would like to see them start back further. That's another thing that EDS or whatever they are told us, is that it'd be like 50-foot setback from the center of Wayland Road. That's not very far. If you drive down Wayland Road, there's a snow fence across from our property, and that's about 80 feet back. So I'd really like to see it back further than that. I'm very much concerned that it be right there. We're concerned about the sound too, because my husband is super sensitive to the sound of the high power lines and all of that. So that's another thing that's of concern to us. And then the other thing is the traffic. I know that it'll only be while it's being built, but Wayland Road is a main artery between Verona and Fish Hatchery Road. We have a lot of traffic. We have bicyclists. We have people who go way faster than the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit there. And if they're going to be having heavy machinery going in and out on on Wayland Road, that's going to be a problem. It's not very far from where you turn off of Fish Hatchery. So when they do build this, if they could have their access be on Muchler Road, which is much less heavily trafficked, that would be helpful. But I also echo all of the other questions that the speaker before me had, is that they haven't shown us anything. The drawings are not to scale. They aren't realistic. I think you owe it to yourselves to get some really detailed information on how this is going to be, because it's just not well thought out, and they were unprepared for the meeting that they had with us. Thank you.
Thank you. So can you tell me which meeting was? It was
the developer, the company that's doing this, and I believe MG&E was part of it.
It was the open house on the senior?
Yes, the open house.
Okay.
And it was the information that came. My husband thought they were trying to sell us solar. So we just threw it away. It wasn't very well attended because people were confused about what it was, and they were nice guys, and they talked and that, but they really didn't have much in the way of answers to our questions. So
okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to call EDF representative Dennis Duffin and Peter Bay. Okay, hi.
Hi. So I'm just coming up here to say, I think Dennis and I registered in case we have to answer questions, but Tori Vince is actually the presenter.
Okay,
for us.
okay. I don't have Tori.
Do I have Tori? I registered online when I signed in for the Zoom. If you need a paper one, I can fill that out too.
Yeah, later, yes. Okay, thank you, Tori. So you can tell us what is this project about.
Sure. I'm going to steal the screen if I may. Okay. All right. Great. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting us to speak tonight. And apologies in advance to a couple of people at the board I see that heard this similar presentation a little bit ago at Ag and Rural, so hopefully we'll make it a little bit more dynamic and exciting for you so you don't get too bored the second time around. I'm Tori Vance. I'm a project developer with EDF Renewables. With me this evening is, as you mentioned, Peter Bay and Dennis Stuffin on our project team. And we also have Mike Rupiper and Joe Pallardy here from EOR, a civil consultant on hand. And if certain questions arise from the commission that might be better answered by those gentlemen, I might defer to them. But I'm here to answer any questions you may have after this presentation, and I'll try to go quick since we're running late. Just a quick introduction on EDF. EDF is one of the largest utilities in the world, and it's been operating in North America about 35 years, and with over 16 gigawatts of renewable energy developed. And those of us here tonight are with the distribution scale power team. And what that means is our projects are designed and built on the local power grid. So it's the power grid that feeds the buildings that we're in right now, homes and businesses and schools, at the lower voltages that we see at this level. So a little bit about our specific unit. We've been building solar for about 20 years, a little over 20 years, and have over 1,500 megawatts of renewable energy in operation. Specific to Wisconsin, we've developed the local ones you might know about, the O'Brien Solar Project, which has been mentioned, and the Dane County Airport Project, which many of you have probably seen as well. And also in Flambeau, the Dairyland Power Cooperative site at 3 megawatts. So a little bit of details on the Sunnyside Energy Center. Here's kind of a overlay or overview map of the land as it currently exists, with a pin there kind of showing where the site's going to be. It's a 20 megawatt AC array made up of bifacial modules. This means they have photovoltaic cells on both sides. They can take power from the top and the bottom, and central inverters. There's also an energy storage component of 40 megawatts by 4 hours. And we're going to have leases with the landowners. Currently have options to lease with them, but we're going to be leasing about 130 acres to operate the site. We're targeting permitting completion in this summer, and notice to proceed to begin construction NTP likely in the spring to summer of 2025, and commercial operation date likely in the late 2026 timeframe. Just some of the local benefits. I mentioned earlier that this is local electricity for the local grid. We're connected to the distribution grid, so the energy that's injected into MGE's distribution system will be consumed from MGE's distribution system. So if you're an MGE customer, you'll likely get power from this project. It supports various carbon reduction goals. MGE, for example, has a goal of being net zero carbon by 2050, and the state of Wisconsin has a goal of being 100% carbon-free electricity for the entire state by 2050. So these 20 megawatts will be a step in that direction. It will also generate about, or a little over $1.6 million in what's called utility aid payments. And that's going to be split between the city and the county. The city will receive about 60% of that block, and the Dane County will receive the other 40%. And that's over the lifetime of the project. And just some stats. In year one of production, this site will generate about 48 million kilowatt hours of energy. And that's equivalent to over 6,600 households, and equivalent about taking 7,500 cars off the road, or the carbon sequestered by about over 40,000 acres of forest. As I mentioned, the project will have a BESS, or a battery energy storage system. That's a Tesla system, so the same batteries we have on our laptops in front of us, our phones in our pockets, and the hybrid electric cars we drive. They're lithium-ion batteries and self-contained cabinets. Each of those cabinets is about the size of a shipping container, to put it in perspective. And this provides various benefits for the project, not only increasing resiliency and reliability of the local power grid, but it gives what's called dispatchable energy. So that energy can be stored from the solar generated during the day or when wind's blowing, and then discharged at night. Like right now, we're sitting in a dark room and the lights are on. So that energy could come from a battery and not from emissions, a fossil fuel emitting power source. And it helps meet more of those renewable energy goals and obligations from utilities and other entities. And it's a safe and reliable energy solution. The Wisconsin PSC has so far to date approved 11 projects with the BESS component, and totaling over about 1,100 megawatts. And they've cited and have found no public safety concerns in any of those approvals. And just kind of a quick slide there on that BESS safety, just the Tesla Megapack that we are proposing here meets or exceeds various industry electrical standards, national and international, as well as Wisconsin Admin Code Section 316 on electrical compliance. So just a quick snapshot of where we are in development. Just see there that we, as I mentioned before, MGE will be both the buyer of the energy of this site and the owner of the project. And with our current zone, this was allowed as a conditional use, or for the conditional use permit, no rezoning required. I'll direct your attention to the lower two on site diligence and approvals and permits, just to show the amount of environmental due diligence we've done on the project and the site to date, and the various approvals that we've already received or are currently in process. And here's a site map. This is what was submitted in our CUP and ADR applications. I have another one at the end of the presentation, but I thought I'd just throw one up there now just to show you what the site is proposed to look like. And a quick highlight of our community engagement efforts so far. As far as stakeholder outreach, we've held various meetings, emails, and phone calls with area stakeholders, including the city administration and both the aldermen over this district, the local universities, and various farmers and researchers about possible agrivoltaic opportunities on the site, and also the project neighbors. We mailed introduction letters to 103 recipients that live near the site. As you can see on the map there, that white pin is right about in the center where the proposed project is. So 88 letters went to owners of the closest properties, and 15 went to area stakeholders, such as the ones I mentioned above. And those letters had an invitation to the neighborhood meeting, the open house we conducted on January 18th, where we were on staff to answer questions, and we had about 25 attendees. So just as a little bit of a background, the project, as it was originally proposed, was a fair amount larger. It was about 60 megawatts and about 277 acres, about 3 times the size that was currently proposed. And based on discussions with the city about some other development targets and efforts in the area, we decided to downsize the site, and it roughly looks about like this, overlaid against what it was. So as you can see, it's about 1/3 the size of what it was, and that's about 20 megawatts AC and 130 acres. And at current design, here's kind of a snip of that map I showed a minute ago of where we currently are. Just a few highlights of kind of what shifted over the dialogue we had with the various stakeholders. As I said, that size reduced to accommodate future plans for other types of developments, such as homes, a new high school in the area, and a possible park to the north of the site. The access drives and entrances, we added a drive. In fact, I can get my pointer going here, potentially. So we added this access, we added the extent of the access road here to the east to the west to Muchler Road after we had the neighborhood meeting. Some neighbors mentioned that, given the traffic impacts to Wayland and the proximity to homes to the south. And in discussions with the city after we proposed that change, it was determined that Wayland Road would be the better entrance for large trucks and commercial vehicles. So as it currently stands, Muchler would still be an entrance for small vehicles where our site trailer would be, things like that, whereas Wayland would be this entrance for large commercial vehicles and deliveries, but with a time restriction. As you can see in your packet, that's currently proposed to have availability between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. We've also added vegetative screening along Wayland Road. We presented these in visual simulations at the meeting, and they're also in your packet, as you can see there, just to propose some of the visual impacts of the project. And as I mentioned, we've also explored or continuing to explore agrivoltaic opportunities with local farmers and researchers. That includes beekeeping and sheep grazing with area farmers and grazers, and a pilot project potentially to grow heritage berries that are shade tolerant under the panels. And that's with a local farmer who showed up to the meeting who actually farms land directly south of the project. So one item that's been discussed, in fact, it was mentioned earlier in public comments, is on property values. So there's a few various studies out there that have looked at this project at various levels of depth. This one study, for instance, in the University of Texas at Austin, found that there's actually essentially 0% or statistically insignificant impact to property values at distance of solar properties. And then there are two kind of main extractions to be pulled from the PSC. PSC Wisconsin has looked at this issue fairly in depth with projects come before it. And it essentially has found that there is no market data supporting negative impact to property values, and that widespread impacts to values are not anticipated. I will say quickly, too, the study that was mentioned earlier by members of the public, that Berkeley study, it's important to keep in mind that per their definitions in the study, Fitchburg is classified as a suburban or an urban cluster area. And in that study, that found that there are 0% or statistically insignificant negative impacts to those property values. It did find some negative impacts to rural areas, but per the definitions of the study, Fitchburg is not considered a rural area given its population density. So to kind of drill down and give some more Fitchburg-specific numbers here, we did a fair amount of research to see have there been impacts in Fitchburg to being near a solar site, and we're fortunate to have the O'Brien Solar Project as a good example. So at first, we took a random sample at about a mile distance to the site and found 47 properties that had sold within the 2020 to 2024 timeframe. And here's what we found. We found the gray line at the bottom is the average home value for Fitchburg over that time period. And this is pulled from Zillow's estimates and Dane County assessor records. The blue line, as you see the second one up from the bottom, that's the average home value for homes near O'Brien. And then the orange line represents the homes shown in the image there that we randomly sampled. And that's the one sold within a half mile of O'Brien. As you can see, their home values went up well above the average for this area over that time period. So to go to another level of detail, we then looked at all homes that sold within a half mile of O'Brien within the time period 2020 to 2024. And we found similar results. The gray line at the bottom shows the average the percent change average for Fitchburg homes over that time period. And you can see we put some numbers there as call-outs. And the blue line shows the number we found for those homes. Important side note, there's about 54 homes in this sample. We found data for 28 of those homes. So the 28 homes that we found that actually sold in that time period well exceeded the Fitchburg average increase in home values. So what does this show? This just shows that in Fitchburg, with real data over the last 4 years, there has been not only no declines, but there's actually been increases in property values that have been near solar projects. Not saying that's a causation, just saying that there's a correlation between, or lack of causation for negative property values. That concludes our presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have as soon as that slide catches up. There we go. And I'll go, the next slide here is just another site plan we can leave up. And happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
We are going to wait for the staff report, and then I open, for questions.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Diana.
Okay. The property is currently owned by the Alt family and then the Mant family farms. The idea would be that these lands would be leased, and eventually MG&E would take over the lease. The size of Sunnyside is similar to O'Brien in terms of the megawatts and the acres covered. Most recently, Plan Commission approved the Strix and the Tidal solar projects. Each were about 6 megawatts, and this one that's proposed before you is about 20 megawatts. The staff has been working with EDF and MG&E regarding the landscape maintenance on the O'Brien solar facility. EDF developed, and now MG&E is the owner of the O'Brien solar facility. So staff will continue working with that. There was a note also about the traffic and where the truck traffic would take access to the site. And of course, this heavy truck traffic would only be during construction. I worked with the Assistant Director of Public Works yesterday. She is not comfortable with taking the heavy truck traffic down Muchler due to the quality of the road and due to the fact that even if traffic does come down Muchler to access the property, it's still going to have to take access to Muchler either from Lacey or from Wayland. So from her perspective, the preferred alternative is for the heavy truck traffic to take access to the site. Of course, only during construction, but take access off of Wayland. We have added a condition in your extensive list of conditions that all of the truck traffic would only occur between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. The Ag and Rural Affairs Committee also reviewed both of these items earlier this evening. They did approve the conditional use permit. However, they approved with one additional condition. And specifically, they've added a number 13 to the conditional use permit. That condition would read, MG&E, EDF, and staff would meet in the next month to discuss correcting, improving the landscape and maintenance at the O'Brien Solar Farm, and then also work to assuring that the other MG&E solar farm, and particularly this future, and if this one is approved this evening, this future one would have adequate landscape maintenance. So that would be number 13 for the conditional use. And then Ag and Rural also did approve the ADR. And so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, you're going to...
Yeah, I'll be recusing myself from discussion and voting.
Okay, thank you.
That 13th, can you repeat the verbiage on that? Because are you saying that we're tying that to that they have to do something at the O'Brien? Because I don't understand how you could put in a condition for this approval tied to a different property.
What is all that it's tying to is a meeting next month between MG&E, EDF, and staff to work through a process to improve the landscape and maintenance.
But I remember that when we met with the EDF and MG&E a couple of months ago, we told them about the situation with the O'Brien fencing. So what happened in the last couple of months? Nothing? Because I remember I was in the meeting where we specifically told them that, the fencing, they need to be, it wasn't what it was approved originally, especially the area looking at Lacey Road. That meeting was a couple of months ago, and then I saw a couple of emails that we exchanged. So that's it. We haven't done anything.
Well, I think in part the time of year is the wrong time of year to do replanting.
Yeah, well, at least we're talking about doing a plan, and saying this is the plan that we are planning, which is what we are planning to do in the spring. You know what I mean? Or
I'm not aware of a specific plan at this time.
Okay. So I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you how we arrived to this. I think we had a meeting, I don't remember when it was, 6 months ago maybe? August. So they approached, we have a meeting, I was in that meeting, the city administrator, as in you were in the meeting, and Mike Zimmerman. So they approached us about this solar farm. And when they show us the original plan, it was like he mentioned, it was like triple the size. And I was in a state of shock. Because one of the other things that we are planning to do is we are going to revise the comprehensive plan, because we need to start rethinking how the city is going to grow, and then and the internal conversation was that when we revise the comprehensive plan, it's going to be ideal to start move south the service urban area to accommodate all this area to be a future, because it's going to be the future growth of the city in the next 20-year development. So when we saw that massive solar farm, it was kind of like, whoa, it's going to stop our development. It's going to be stalled for 35 years. So we, of course, they didn't know. MG&E didn't know about your plans, because it's something that we are going to try to work during our revision of the comprehensive plan. So I think we have a very good discussion, and they were able to go back, compromise, and they came back with a smaller solution. So that one is a smaller solution. So I think they understood our future needs for development. You know that also the Verona School District had purchased a parcel, the Lacey Farm, to build a high school in the future. So all this area is going to be developed in the next 20, 30 years in Fitchburg. But they were very gracious and decided, okay, we're going to go back, and we understand your needs and how we can work with the, with the land owners, and so this is where I say thank you for bringing this, compromise size of the solar farm, because you were considerate about our city growth, in the future. So that's it. I want to tell you that part of the history, so you know. But I am open for. Carol.
I just have a couple of quick questions based on some of the citizen testimony that we had. Do we have a prescribed setback that is specific to solar uses?
There's not a prescribed setback specific to solar. They just need to meet the zoning requirement setbacks, which I believe that they have. So they'll just have to meet the AZ setback requirement.
And then the 65 decibel sound limit, who actually monitors that and is responsible for making sure that it doesn't exceed that?
That's a fair question. Staff has some tools. We do have a way to measure if it's needed, if we believe that there's a problem with, we have a decibel measurement tool if we believe that there is a problem.
Okay.
It's not something that we would just go out and do regularly, but
Right, but if we had complaints from citizens, we could go out and actually monitor that to make
This
sure
is
that
true.
it's being adhered to. And when that says at the property line, is that at the setback or is that at the actual?
at the property line.
Perfect, thank you.
And so under AX zoning, which is the zoning district, the front setback is 35 feet, actually.
But can we increase that setback?
Under the conditional use, you could request a
Okay.
bigger setback.
So now it's, what is 50? What is the one that is good?
Yeah, I guess it would depend what's feasible.
Because my question is, the other thing that we need to understand is that the city doesn't have too much authority to deny or reject a solar, this type of permit, because it's regulated by the Public Service Commission. So that one I want to tell you to the neighbors that our hands sometimes are tied. The only thing that we can maybe set some, setbacks, fencing, all of that stuff. But
Right,
it's
can you give-
difficult to
Can you
do
give
that.
an estimate where the fence sets back from the property line
know
on
that-
Whalen?
Yeah, I know that the panels are 50 feet from
Okay.
the property line, from the landowner's property line, and the fence, I want to say, is 35 feet, maybe even closer, 40 feet, or sorry, farther, I should say. I can go back, I can look at that measurement and get back to you, but I know the panels are 50 feet.
And the landscaping, the greenery is where? Right on the lot line?
That is in the setback, yes.
That's in the setback?
Yes.
I have another question. There are going to be removal of a lot of tree, okay? Can you explain, I know that in the package is there, but, for the people that they are here and watching from home, what is your plan? You're planning to replant those trees that you're going to remove, and what type of trees are?
Yeah, I can tell you that there is, look at my notes here, there's about, in total, if you look at the site plan as depicted here, so as currently shown, we have tree removal in this area. And these are non-native conifers. At one point, this property was a Christmas tree farm.
Oh.
So these are non-native conifers that are, grown as grids that essentially, they're not really much kind of considered prize trees, if you will. I mean, not to say any tree is not a prize tree, but this area and this grove over here in total is about 1.6 acres of coniferous trees, and there's about 0.7 acres of deciduous trees in total. And most of those are non-native, non-protected trees under your tree ordinance. So those areas, as we currently design the site, would be cleared. But I will say that the landscape area we were just discussing is, I don't have the total area of that, but we are, as currently designed, that area will be planted with 261 evergreen trees and shrubs and 311 deciduous trees and shrubs. So while there's a pretty good offset of the amount of trees that were removed here by the amount of landscaping that we would be proposing down in this area.
Okay. Any question?
Yeah, I guess a question about the setback. Is it possible to go back farther than 50 feet? I specifically from Whalen Road, I guess is what I'm asking, but I guess from any of the roads. Can we?
I mean, anything's possible, but it would, as currently designed, it's not very ideal. I can try and zoom in here, or people look, but you can see the racking setup we're using here. You can see these natural breaks right about here in our tracking design. These are called rows of 90, so there's 90 panels per tracker, per rack. And so it's that kind of space to accommodate that many table lengths or tracker lengths in the design here. So if we go back a farther distance, we would lose a pretty good block of the capacity. So we would be already dipping into our 20 megawatt AC capacity that is the target that we're trying to meet through agreements we already have with MG&E.
What would be the height of the trees and shrubs? I suppose we'll get into that, but for the people watching at home too, and for me, you can say, well, we're going to plant X number of trees to replace all these acres of mature trees that we've taken out. Are these going to be 4-foot tall, deciduous trees that aren't going to have any kind of screening capacity until it's 20 years from now? Or what type of plantings are included in those screenings?
Yes, they will be younger trees upon planting. We found, and most landscape managers have found, that planting trees after a certain maturity does not tend to work. They tend to not transplant well and they die. So these trees will be, beyond the sapling stage. They'll be, in the 1 to 2 foot range. And we have in our landscape management plan some height targets and density targets that will be met at different intervals. So those are in the landscape plan. If I can exit screen here, I can tell you.
And I'd be curious to know whether we're talking there will be some screening at least in 5 years, maybe significant screening in 10 years. I feel sorry for the homeowners on Whalen Road. I'm just going to put it out there. I think, and you can talk about all your Zillow studies and whatever, and we heard about another study, but when you have a house that directly faces an entire field of solar panels, I can't imagine that it's not going to impact the property value in some way or form. And even if technically Fitchburg is urban, suburban, we're 16 square miles and probably more than that now with the town of Madison of an entire microcosm of Dane County. We have farmland, we have everything within that area. So, I just want to make sure that we're doing the most we can for the rural property owners to make sure that they aren't impacted by this. So.
Sure. And so looking at our landscape plan here, those plants upon planting will be anywhere from about the 3 foot range, and some of them will actually be pretty higher. There's some plant species of Allegheny serviceberry that will be 10 foot upon planting. And that's like a medium growth shrub. So at the max height, these plants will range from 15 feet to up to 50 feet for some western cedars that are proposed to be planted there as well.
Thank you.
Gabriela?
How different is this screening plan from what we have at O'Brien? Like, is this much more screening, or is this about the same? Because I'm concerned, just given the fact that the O'Brien hasn't gone as well as we wanted. How do we make sure that this doesn't happen at this site?
I don't recall the specifics of the types of plants that were planted. I think the numbers in general is similar, but what has happened, I think, has just been the lack of adequate maintenance over the years and to make sure that the plants were established.
Okay, you need to go tomorrow and drive, Lacey, and you count how many trees are there. There are not too many.
But was the plan to have as many as
I don't
planned?
remember.
That's what I'm curious
Yeah,
about.
there was a similar amount, but most of them didn't survive.
Yeah.
I would say half the plants just didn't survive.
Yeah. So who's in charge of maintaining those trees? Is going to be MG&E after they take over, or is the property owner?
No, it's MG&E's responsibility. If the conditional use and ADR is approved this evening, and this is the similar case with the O'Brien, all of the responsibilities for maintenance and continued compliance with the conditional use falls to MG&E.
So why is no MG&E here?
I think it's a fair question.
Sorry. Yeah, we did invite MGE and a couple of their people were supposed to attend. In fact, their community service liaison apparently had some medical issues per an email he got this morning, and when I responded, I got an out-of-office reply from him. So haven't been able to confirm why they weren't able to attend, but I know they were planning to attend this meeting.
Gabriela?
Is it not possible to just hire a vegetation management firm that's going to work for 3 to 5 years to up front? I don't know how this works, but obviously you transfer ownership to MG&E or transfer the lease, but is it not possible to just pay up front to make sure that we actually maintain these trees and it doesn't just...
So who we need to maintain?
No, not us, but I don't know.
No, that is generally how it works. That's part of what, when a solar project reaches operation, the phases, we call it O&M, operations and maintenance. And there are various contracts and agreements, including one with, usually with the landscape company to come in and both maintain the landscaping and also do the things like the periodic mowing under the panels of the grasses that will be planted there, and just checking on the landscape in general. And as we talked about in the Ag and Rural Committee meeting earlier today, just own the fact that this, apologize that this landscaping in O'Brien is not up to snuff where it should be right now. So we're working hard to remedy that. And as Deanna mentioned, there is a condition now that we will be meeting with the city and with MGE over the next month to get a plan moving forward. We just had the survey done out there just this past week, so I have preliminary data. And as Deanna said, it's about half of the plantings are either dead or dying, and half are actually there and on target to meet their growth targets. But we're going to work to remedy that situation.
And did you mention that you're using a different landscaper for this project than O'Brien?
We haven't done that contract yet, and I don't want to say our hands are tied by any means, but we have been considering landscape plans landscaping firms that MG&E uses and recommends, because as was mentioned, they will be the long-term owner operator. But given the situation at O'Brien, that might not move forward, so that remains to be seen.
The battery power is definitely interesting. Where is that located on the site?
Yeah, let me share my screen again. I can show you. Did it take? Nope. Sorry. Just a second. It's in the northeast corner of the site. I'm trying to get my screen share working again here.
Oh, I think I can see it on the map.
And is there one of those at O'Brien as well, or any of the other solar farms that are in the area?
There's not in Fitchburg. As I said, the Wisconsin PSC has approved 11 projects to date with battery storage, so it's right in this. Oh, I lost my laser pointer.
So this would be different, significantly different from any of the other ones that we've approved, because we just had one a month or two ago, and this is like the first time I'm like, oh, battery pack, that's different.
Yeah. No, those two did not. The 2-1 energy projects are smaller in size, and they do not have a battery component.
And does that face homes? Or
No, the nearest homes the nearest home to the battery is 1,000 feet to the east on the other side of Fish Hatchery Road. The nearest home to the north is a quarter section, and then some. It's about 1,300 feet to the north.
Okay. I guess another question too is like with the fencing like around it, is it similar to what looks like at O'Brien, or what does that fencing look like?
It is. It was mentioned earlier. It's called a deer fence because it prohibits deer from moving through. So it does allow for small animals. You can just kind of Google an agricultural fence, and it's with openings that are smaller at the bottom to allow smaller animals like chipmunks and rabbits and things to go through, and it's slightly larger in the middle and top to allow certain birds to fly through. So it allows small mammals to go through. But we find that's more aesthetically pleasing and kind of fits in with the agricultural character. It uses wooden posts, and it has those larger knot openings, so it's not like a chain link fence or anything like that, or barbed wire or anything of that nature.
I have one more quick question. In the actual document that was provided by the applicant, it talks about not only the sound level at the property line, it also talks about sound levels at the nearest public access point and the nearest private residence. Those are probably not, they're not noted in our conditions. Is that something that can be added to our conditions as well, or do we not typically put a condition on something that's outside the property line? Does that make sense?
It does. I guess the only thing we can in the past, it's my understanding that we've focused on what was at the property line, but I don't see a reason why that we couldn't include a condition and like at the nearest house.
Would you anticipate a 15 decibel drop between the property line at Whalen Road and the house across the street?
Yes, we would. That's just generally it's called the inverse square law of how sound dissipates over distance. It's the same as other types of wave forms of energy. So as we say in the packet, and I think I have it in the slide on this if it's helpful to show visually, essentially every time you double distance from a sound source, the sound drops by 6 decibels. So, and if you increase the distance tenfold, it drops by create offhand, is it 20 decibels? But the numbers we have in our response document kind of showed that sound analysis that we did. So the BESS itself, the battery energy storage system, has a max decibel at max operating temperature, so when the fans are fully running for cooling, of 75 decibels. So 75 decibels is about a vacuum cleaner in your house, it's conversation in a restaurant, and then as you move away from that, it's going to dissipate quite heavily. So I would say, just as a food for thought, if you're considering some type of ordinance, or sorry, a condition to measure sound, if you're at the home over here on the east side of Fish Hatchery Road, you're going to hear so many more things louder than that BESS. You're going to hear the road from, the traffic from Fish Hatchery Road is going to be much louder and much closer to you than the BESS would be. Between that BESS and that home is the MGE substation. This public works maintenance facility with windrows of compost pits. There's a dog park over here, and then there's a home. So I think you're going to be really difficult to determine any sound at that distance as far away as coming from any equipment that's 1,000 feet away and is the conversation level of a restaurant when you're 10 meters or 30 feet away.
And that's the only area of your plan that's going to generate any noise?
The other noise parts are here. We use central inverters. So as you can see here, and here, these equipment pads, these are where the central inverters will be. And this is the closest one to a home, to these homes south of Wayland Road. It's about 600 feet away. And that's where the 65 decibels came from at max operating temperature at 10 meters, which is 30 feet. So again, that's going to dissipate over distance, and you have a road. So as soon as you get across Wayland Road, I think you're going to have a really hard time to say any sound that's reaching you inside your house or in your front yard is coming from an inverter that's 600 plus feet away.
Okay, thank you.
And I just have one last question too about the road. So the access off of Wayland Road, which will be used for construction, putting things
Larger
together.
trucks, yep.
That'll just be a temporary thing, and that'll go away because the primary access will be on Munchler Road?
We will keep that access just in the off chance that a large vehicle needs to come in for maintenance or service, for example, the batteries, or for emergency access, because if there is emergency access off both Munchler and Wayland, it's just a higher ability for emergency access vehicles to get in, or maintenance vehicles and the like.
Okay.
But the primary, as we were calling it, will be the Munchler Road, save for primary for large vehicles will be during on Wayland. But for the operational life of the project, I mean, our job trailer will be here, and the kind of parking area, the kind of welcome area, if you will, where the site superintendent will be located, will be off the Munchler Road access. That's our intent.
Okay, and then is that part of the conditions too, or is that just something like the
I don't
road?
have a condition specifically to that.
Can we put a condition
Yes.
on it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. How you're going to monitor the battery storage? You monitor remotely, or you have to do physical, maintenance?
Yeah, the majority will be remote monitoring. So
Okay.
there's going to be two main entities that will monitor the battery, both the manufacturer, so Tesla has its own remote monitoring at each battery container, and then MGE, through their operations center, will also be monitoring the battery at each container. And then when we during the construction phase and the early O&M phase, and the new owner, MGE, will have the periodic maintenance coming. There'll be maintenance staff coming every, maybe a couple times a month just to check on the site. And they'll, of course, drive through the area and see if there's any issues with the battery. As you can see here, too, the access road actually loops around the battery entirely. So the road comes in from Munchler and Wayland and does a 360 kind of oval around the battery to allow kind of 360 access for maintenance vehicles and emergency access vehicles.
I just thought I would add that at Ag, there was discussion about signage because of the people that are speeding from Fish Hatchery and turning onto Wayland, and there was a commitment that they would try to carefully put some temporary signage or something to warn people that there's traffic right as soon after turning the corner.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? No?
Ask a question? So signing in. I'm one of the homeowners on Wayland.
Can you come to the microphone so we can hear you better? And people at home can also hear you. Can you say your name and your address?
My name is Cheryl Miller. I'm one of the homeowners that's directly affected by this on Wayland.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my first question is, what is the setback from, say, the middle of Wayland to where those panels start?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah.
Or whoever can answer it.
The setback is from the property line to the panels, and that's 50 feet. So from the, I don't know from the center line of Wayland, I can't remember if we know how wide that road is. It probably adds another 50 feet.
About 30.
Okay, so 30, so 80 feet from the center line of the road to the
Okay,
first
so
row
when
panels.
we built our house, we had to build 100 feet from the center. So why does the same not hold true for something like this?
I imagine because your parcel is probably zoned differently. This parcel is zoned AX, exclusive agricultural, and per the zoning ordinance, the setback to structures is 50 feet in that zone. So I'm not sure what your parcel was zoned as when you built your home.
Okay. You said at the beginning that you made this smaller.
Mhm.
So why can't you take the front zone that butts right up to Wayland and move it in the back where it's not right in our face?
Well, as we said earlier, you know, we're trying to meet a capacity target per the agreements we have with MGE to build a 20 megawatt AC solar array. So if we take the panels from this lower area, we're below 20 megawatts.
Right, but can't you move them somewhere else?
Well, as we said earlier in our discussions with the city, we did have quite a bit more land that we were considering for build, but given there's proposed parks in the area, a new school, and other interests to build housing in the area, we decided to move our parcels from that area. And I would just pause it for food for thought tonight of how many presentations we've heard on housing developments in the city. And with this 130 acres, would you rather see solar panels for 30 years or another 500-600 homes for 30 plus years? And the traffic and the roads and the lighting and the stormwater. So as the mayor said and people have said, development's coming. So it's just a choice of what you want to see on this that's near your property.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
I guess I can move approval of conditional use request CU 253324 with the 12 conditions outlined by staff, plus the condition from Ag and Rural, and plus a condition about outlining the rules about the roads, that road access.
Can we get some exact language for those?
Yeah, I believe that Deanna actually.
Can you read them again?
Okay, so I think and already in the ADR, we do have a condition that that truck traffic would take Wayland, but only between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So I think that's in there. I guess just to be clear, in addition, you would like to just say that.
Maybe just clarify that primary access is off of Munchler Road and Wayland Road is for
the truck traffic.
Big truck traffic, because it's needed for, public works request.
Okay. So, we'll just do it in the conditions of number 14, road access to the site. The primary access will be off Munchler, primary access off Munchler for traffic, with the exception of construction heavy truck traffic, which will be off Wayland, but only between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Just modifying the one from, I'm just curious.
Are you okay to just modify the one?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
What was the 13th condition?
That staff, MG&E EDF staff would meet in the next month to discuss correcting the landscape and maintenance. I can get you that in the morning.
Okay.
okay, you get it? Yes.
Yep, I think we got it.
Sure.
Okay, so
I'll second.
who's second? Josh? Okay. Okay, so all those in favor of the forgot my. Where we are. All those in favor of the conditional use CU-2533-24 with the new condition or revised condition, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Zach is recusing himself, okay? For a minute. Okay, thank you.
The ADR.
Oh, so now we need to do the ADR. Okay. So, do we need approval from?
Yeah, we do need approval for the architectural design
I'll move
review.
approval of ADR for Sunnyside Solar Farm with the 19 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
Do we need to add those conditions that we talked about for the, we don't need to do that, right?
No, because she added in the other one, isn't it?
We'll edit number 4 for the ADR.
Okay, with an edit to number 4.
With the edit to number 4.
Edited. Number 4 condition. Okay, all those in favor. Oh, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, George. Okay, all those in favor of the ADR Sunnyside Solar Farm with the edit of number 4 condition, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Chairwoman, I'm just noticing that we have Ned online and he looks like he's boarding or on a plane. Should we move 5K up to be next? I don't want to give preferential treatment to any of our applicants. However, noticing
I didn't notice.
The background.
He's in the plane?
it looks like it to me. It looks like a nice first class seat, Ned. I'll take it if you need to come here instead.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so we are moving, all those in favor of moving the pre-application for the artist loft before I say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, okay, we are moving that. So okay, so do we need to approve this one or no?
There's no approval. It's just a pre-application.
We are going to discuss the pre-application for the artist loft requested by Ned Hoyt, agent for Bowman Farms LLC, to obtain pre-application review for a proposed mixed-use development containing multifamily and commercial facility located in off of Index Road. So, okay, Ned, where is Ned?
There's.
Oh, the Rabin is from the hotel. Sorry, Rabin.
Thank you all very much for accommodating the shift in the schedule.
One second, Ned. Excuse me, sir. Can you... Hello? Hello?
Can you guys please leave? Hey, guys. Can you guys scoot? Thanks.
Oh, my Lord.
It's 9:30 at night. Come on.
Sorry, Ned. Now, your turn.
Thank you all for accommodating the change of schedule, and apologies that I didn't allow sufficient time before boarding my flight for the meeting. We're very excited about this proposal. This is an area that is part of the North Fish Hatchery visioning. And as part of that visioning, there was a section that was noted for a arts or sports precinct. So we've been trying very hard over the last couple of years, working with Andy Bowman and Bowman Farms, to think of a proposal that would achieve a suitable use for the property that would be commercially efficient and profitable, but at the same time would achieve that arts precinct goal. And so we have a proposal here for basically 40,000 square feet of commercial space, which is split between actual commercial retail-facing businesses that would be arts focused, and about 20,000 square feet of arts kind of workshop space that would be available kind of to artists or live workspaces, with about 3 floors of residential space above to help make the project sort of efficient. It's a similar design to some of our existing green roof buildings, except that the center green roof is actually open to the public and at grade, so that it creates basically an open and inviting environment for people to come in and visit the businesses that are within the area. So that's the general proposal we have. And obviously we're here for a pre-application hearing to get your permission in order to apply for a planned development zone zoning, because we don't think we can achieve the mixed arts and residential precinct kind of components without that specialized zoning.
All right, staff, do you want to give any report on this one, or?
And just fill in a few items. So I think Ned talked about the next step would be to move into planned development district zoning. This would be mixed use with parking underneath with some surface parking. We would definitely be looking for bicycle parking when the time comes. I don't know that I need to say anything other special than that. Maybe if there's any questions.
As someone that's brand new to CLAN, can you just talk a little bit about a planned development district more generally?
Certainly can. So planned development districts are a special zoning. It's actually a two-step process. So unfortunately, the city of Fitchburg has a very old zoning code, and many of our modern, the kinds of current development that both the city is interested in having and where the market is not aligning with our current zoning ordinance. And so many of the projects that have come forward in terms of our major development, like Oshala across the street, Avalon across the street, Terrace Point, many of these developments come through to Plan Commission as planned development districts, which just means that it is a zoning district very specific to this particular project. And there's a two-step process with this. It's the first is the Plan Development District General Implementation Plan. That is a rezoning process. And then the next step would be Plan Development District Specific Implementation Plan, which is the final step in this rezoning process. So happy to answer any questions about that.
One thing that wasn't super clear to me, but because we don't have any elevations on this, can either staff or Ned point to, is it, so like underground parking, street level is going to be the commercial space and the artist studios, and then there's 2 floors of housing above that, so it would look like a 3-story building versus like most of the 4 stories that you do, or am I off by a floor?
You're off by a floor. It would have 3 floors of residential above the ground floor, commercial and artist lofts. So it would look like a 4-story building.
Thanks.
And it sounds very cool to have artist lofts, but is that different than any commercial space? Other than you're hoping that the use is for artists, but is it going to look different than if you just had retail or commercial space?
The space that would front onto the kind of plaza in the center would probably look no different than any other commercial space from a retail perspective. The portions that are around the exterior that are more workshop oriented certainly would look different. They might be the sort of place where you would have a woodworking studio or pottery studio where you might invite a client in or two, but it'd be an area where you are actually working and creating the artwork. So at least that's the vision that we have. And then we're hoping to have kind of a gallery event area on one corner and a restaurant, sort of cafe, coffee shop on another as kind of a anchor tenants in a sense for people to visit while they're visiting the artist. So again, a portion of it would look much like any other retail and a portion of it would be kind of artist specific. At least that's the intent.
It feels, it sounds really cool. Kind of in the same line, like if there isn't that much of a need here, does this easily convert? Or, I mean, I'm assuming there's other things like this that you or others have built, but it feels a little like it's a pretty niche thing. Sounds really cool. What happens if, it's built and you have occupancy and 6 months down the road, 90% of them are unleased? Do they convert into other retail? Do you turn them into residential? Like what does that look like?
That's a really, really good question. I would say that we don't have the answer, and we don't know of anything else exactly like this in any other sort of location. So part of what we're counting on is that the residential will have some profitability that will kind of enhance and probably subsidize the artists below in terms of making the overall project work. The second is we're going to have to work really hard to have a certain number of anchor tenants that would be commercially viable in their own right, that allows the rest of the space essentially to function for artists, because most of the artists kind of organizations and businesses that we know can't afford a very high rent kind of in the first place. But it is a work in progress to figure out exactly what the business model and economic viability of that space looks like.
I really like the concept. I think it's kind of a beautiful idea. It sounds like you are working with, I assume that there's like artist. Oh, is he still there? He's still there. Oh, okay. I assume that you're working with artists or art organizations or nonprofits or something that give you some feedback about what they would like to see, what their needs are. Is that? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I have a small handful of folks that I know who are professionals who also have art stuff that they do on the side and have had kind of various experiences trying to have kind of shared arts kind of spaces, and have provided initial sort of input into this concept. But I think part of our GIP planning process would be to have some significant interaction with a range of arts or other organizations to get their input into it, and we would certainly invite input from the council, from the city, and from people that they suggest that we talk to try and refine this and get it right. My expectation is that this is not a fast through to GIP and SIP and start construction in 9 months project. This is probably a year or two in planning, just to be sure that we get the model right in a way that suits not just the various artists, but is appealing to the community as a retail space and to the residents above.
That sounds wonderful.
Any other question, comments? No? Okay, so I don't think that we have more questions for you, Ned. So I think it's a great, I don't know, project. We'll see. So a lot of potential.
Thank you for accommodating the adjusted schedule at the end. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, bye. Okay, so now, finally, item I is another public hearing and consideration of a comprehensive development plan, CDP-2531, request by Ravin Shah, agent of SFMA Deals LLC, to amend the Orchard Point Comprehensive Development Plan to allow the construction of a 100-room hotel in the Orchard Point development on property located at the corner of Limestone Lane and Nesbitt Road. So we have with us here Bob Seeger, architect for the project, and Ravin Shah, you are the developer, owner. Okay, all yours.
Yeah, here today for the CDP amendment for the hotel. So it'll be Spring Hill Suites by Marriott Hotel. 100 rooms is what we're looking at. Part of the CDP that you have in front of you today included a traffic study, which came out pretty well. So it shows no major impacts to traffic. Aside from the traffic study, there's some notes that we had submitted about FAR calculations as well. So you should have that there with the submittal. Right. But other than that, not much has changed since the pre-app meeting in terms of the summary of the project. So if you have anything else you'd like to say.
I'm just saying, as of today, we did submit a very detailed, it's a conditional use.
For the ADR submittal.
Right, for the architectural, which included all the landscape plans, a fully developed site plan with information on stormwater retention, all the grading. So the detailed questions that need to that we probably need to discuss at some point have been submitted. So this was just for the amendment, and we're welcome to any feedback and thoughts that you have on that.
Okay, Diana, do you want to provide your report too?
I do. So this is a similar kind of situation that we had earlier this evening with Swan Creek Comprehensive Development Plan. So these comprehensive development plans are larger area plans that are more specific than our comp plan, but doesn't get down exactly to the site level. In this case, we're looking at an amendment to the Orchard Point Comprehensive Development Plan. Unbelievably, I think this is 19 in terms of amendments.
Oh, really? Whoa.
So these do get changed over time. And there's a couple things that we look closely in terms of these of this particular comprehensive development plan. One of the things is just the overall use and making sure that the use is aligned with the comprehensive development plan, and also Orchard Point was very concerned about traffic too. Was another important piece. So. What is before you is for this project to go forward, this 100-room hotel project to go forward, it would require some minor amendments to that comprehensive development plan, which would be number 19. So in particular, we would be looking to reduce the overall impervious surface area, the overall open space, from 35% to 20% to accommodate this site. And then the other piece is a slight change in the overall requirements for traffic. The weekly traffic trips do need to go a little bit higher. The weekday daily traffic trips need to go a little bit higher than what was originally proposed. However, staff is not concerned about that slightly higher weekday number of trips, because the hotel means that there's more trips throughout the day, but there's not a significant impact. It doesn't push the traffic up at the PM peak times. So where there's the highest problems with traffic in the evening, in the morning, the hotel isn't going to have a negative impact. So staff is recommending approval of the amendment to the comprehensive development plan with 5 conditions.
Okay,
And we can take some questions.
Can you talk a little bit about the impervious surface reduction? Because I know there's still stormwater requirements. We still have to make sure that the infiltration happens. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I certainly can. So reducing the amount of impervious surface does not change the stormwater requirements. The stormwater requirements still must be met if they have 5% or 50% impervious surface. Those stormwater requirements still must be met. In this case, reducing the open space a bit, just allows for a more intensive development of this site, which staff feels is an appropriate use on this corner.
Any other comments? Questions?
Yeah.
No?
Yep. The next step, as Raveen kind of hinted there, and as Bob hinted, is that a conditional use permit. The site does not need to be rezoned. It's properly zoned, but they do need a conditional use permit to proceed with the hotel, and then also architectural design review.
Okay.
Great.
So when are you planning to start building?
As soon as you can, Bob.
Yeah. Our architectural review information was submitted today.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll be up for discussion on the 19th of March, at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So.
And it did include comprehensive stormwater information.
Okay.
And the design is 90% done, even though we are still in the development stages here. There's been a lot of effort put in on the site plan to make it all work, including a very comprehensive landscape plan and a very comprehensive lighting plan. And so the next go around, there'll be a lot of details to talk about.
Okay, so you're going to come back March 19th.
March 19th, yeah.
We promise you. We put it at the beginning of the agenda.
Please. Thank you. Yeah.
I guess just while you're here,
Yeah.
you guys maybe submit for conditional use too? Because I didn't get that one.
No, just for the CDP, yeah, and then I think the 19th will be for
For the ADR.
ADR
You're
and-
gonna do like the CU sometime later down the process?
I thought that it was combined with the ADR, the CU
No.
and the, no.
No. But if you go in OpenGov tomorrow and submit it, then I think we can get it taken care of.
Sounds good. Okay, I'll get that done.
Okay.
I'll move approval of comprehensive development plan, CDP 253124, with the 5 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the, what is?
Did we get a second?
Oh,
Yeah, Carol.
the CDP-2531, say aye.
Aye.
Again, anyone against? The motion carried. So thank you very much. Thank you for continue investing in Fitchburg.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So where we are now in J, okay. So then we have a final plat FP-2532-24 request by Michelle Burrs, agent for Fitchburg Lands LLC, to approve a final plat for the 4th addition to Terravesa to allow the subdivision of 135 lots, including 128 buildable lots in the Terravesa neighborhood. So, okay, so we have...
Can you check and see if Michelle...
Dropped her out a couple minutes ago and haven't been able to get her back.
Oh.
Okay, I asked her to...
Would you like to skip over the next
Um,
while we work on this?
But you can do your report, no?
Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. Michelle is actually the surveyor engineer for this project, and this is the 4th edition for Terravesa. Can you believe the 4th edition?
How many of?
It's about 109 lots, single-family lots, plus 2 outlots that will allow probably 8 to 10 townhome units. That hasn't been determined exactly. So,
where is that 4th addition? Do you have a map?
I will. Sorry. Yes. Let me get it up on the map for
so
you.
The people watching from home.
Yep.
Future watchers.
Or future watchers. Yep, we can do that. I apologize. Yep. Okay, so this is the next edition of Terravesa. I expect maybe just one more edition until we reach all the way over to Larson Road. So,
Wow.
like I said, it's about 109 single-family houses. Some of them are fairly decent in size, like the ones up on Parsnip here. These are kind of the more standard ones with off the alley, with the garages off the alley. So 2 pages here, and extending Romaine, Lacey, Swalo.
Do you have a map of the whole neighborhood to see where?
Let me just go get that. Can you see that one? Yep. Just gonna bounce here. Okay. So here is Terra Vesa.
Yes.
And this is the 3rd edition that we platted last year. And this area here is our 4th edition.
Oh, and then the 5th is the next one.
And then the 5th one will be up here.
And then what is the other one?
This is not Terra Vesa anymore.
Oh.
So Phil, Terra Vesa only extends approximately up to here.
Okay.
The Lacey will come out here at Meadowview Road eventually.
Okay.
Yep. So it'll kind of wrap up and come up and connect
Do they
into
have
here.
any other access that people from that 4, or they need to go all the way back to the MM?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Oh, yeah?
It's one of the things that staff has been working with the design team. So Sorrel connects here, but I'm going to hop back into. Originally, Parsnip, which, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to bounce back. So the proposed Parsnip is going to be right about here. And that's the end of this particular addition. So I know it's kind of weird how things get turned here. But let me see if I can make this make a little bit better sense. It's kind of close. So north is kind of to the top here. So here's that Parsnip. Now, in some of the earliest documents that, of course, Zach and I were not here at the time, but some of the earliest documents when the original planning documents were done early on, when especially Northeast Neighborhood Plan, they had talked about having Parsnip, it wasn't named Parsnip at the time, but might even swing back up to Clayton. I don't know if you even remember any of that, Carol, but there was some maps that actually showed that Parsnip, a road right here, might even swing back all the way up here to Clayton. I don't know that that's ever a feasible, but I think there's a good argument to be made that at some point there could be a road connection in addition that could come across here. And so that was the original thinking in all of the preliminary plats that have been approved, that Parsnip would be at least a stub end. I'm going to go back. If I get everybody messed up, just let me know. That Parsnip would dead in, and this is actually the school property right here. With the thinking that at some point that option would be there to maybe extend all the way to MM, or maybe even someday swing all the way up to Clayton. So I think it's something.
What is the other road on the
This is Larson.
Larson. So, but they are gonna have any connection to Larson? There is connected that one to Larson or no?
Yeah.
No, the other
Lacey will definitely come up and connect right into Larson. Right now, Public Works makes them keep this emergency access road. Okay. And they will have to, now this new addition is coming in, they're going to have to maintain some kind of emergency access road over to Larson. This is an emergency access road that Public Works makes the developer keep a connection. It's just gravel right now.
So my question is, after this 4 addition is built, then there is capacity for a 5th,
Yep.
and then Terra Besa is going to be complete.
You are correct.
Okay, so, okay. Thank you.
Different kind of question, but I heard from someone that the Forest Edge Elementary is already sort of getting close to capacity,
Which
despite Forest Edge,
Oh.
despite it being brand new.
Yeah.
Is that a concern as we continue building this neighborhood? We're not going to be in a situation where the people that live in the neighborhood elementary school students can't go to the school that's right there.
So I think you bring up a really good point, and I don't pretend to know how school districts plan their schools and where. But it's my understanding that, yes, Forest Edge is very popular and nearing capacity, but it's my understanding that the school district would build a new elementary school farther to the south that would take some pressure off of Forest Edge, that they wouldn't be looking at expanding, they would be looking at building a new school closer to their other population center.
Okay. And do we know if they have plans for that already, like they have a space and...
There is, the Oregon School District already purchased some land in Fitchburg on the, what is that?
Right near the interchange?
Yeah, there the interchange.
Right.
But I think that one is for a high school.
I know that's middle school.
Well, middle,
I
One
can't
of those.
remember.
Yeah. I just
but
worried
yes, they have the school district owns this land, and I don't know if it's going to be elementary. I know it's middle school, but they do own this land too.
I guess one of the things I love about this neighborhood is that it's walkable and that it's, people can spend time in their neighborhood and get what they need. And
yes,
but
I'm sure they're not going to bus Terra Vesta kids someplace
Okay.
else, right?
Okay. I just want to make sure that
it would just be a matter of, taking it,
Maybe they'll
it's just-
take kids from the, south of Oregon that are going to Terra Besa,
Yeah. Yep.
So I can ask a question. I am going to meet with the Oregon superintendent, so I can ask. Send me your question.
So the long and the short of it, where I was trying to go, this is not going to be built as a road, but those lands will be dedicated to the public for easement and potential future roadways. So we're just keeping our options open for that. And Zach has looked over, this is smart code, so the lot sizes have to be specific to smart code. Zach has looked at that. Most of the lots are going to be T4. There will be some lots that are, the larger lots will be T3 in terms of the zoning. The parkland dedication, we'll still have to work through that. Terra Vesa, the original plat dedicated 33 acres of parkland, and so sufficient dedication for pretty much the whole development.
Oh, okay. So maybe we don't need to collect any more parkland.
We'll have to collect, yes, we don't have to collect any more parkland, we have to collect the improvement fees.
Improvement fee, okay. Park improvement fees, okay.
Yep. The other thing that staff's been working with, Parsnip was always slated to, in the future, if there was ever that potential, to have transit, to be able to take bus traffic up Lacey, along Parsnip, and then down Sorrel was the idea. So we've asked confirmation to the engineers that the turning radiuses could accommodate transit in the future. And so staff does recommend approval. It is a very long list, and Shelley pointed out that it's too long because I have duplicated 13 and 14. So I will request that number 13
Wow, good eyes, Shelley.
be eliminated, so that we are suggesting a total of 18 conditions with the elimination of number 13.
Or 14.
Or, yes, you could do 14.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I'll move approval of final plat request FP 2534-24 with the 18 conditions outlined by staff eliminating number 13, which is a duplicate.
Second.
Okay, so all of in favor of the final plat, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. So this is what is important. I'm going to say my speech now, that we need to revise the comp plan and start looking where we are going to grow, because the Ravesa, I remember I was in council when we approved the Ravesa. You remember, Carol? It was, 7 years ago? And it's going to be fully complete maybe in the next 2 years. And then we need more lots. This is what is important, the neighborhood plan too. You know what I mean? So, okay, so next one.
Last one.
Yeah, resolution R-18-24, releasing a public water main easement on lot 3 of CSM 13261. I don't know what it is.
So this is actually Sub-Zero. You all approved that Sub-Zero in December, the Sub-Zero CSM, to join those two lots.
Yeah.
And there is an existing water main, a public water main that is no longer needed. And so with approval to release that public water main, it'll allow the redevelopment of that area for Sub-Zero. So staff does recommend approval of just releasing that public water main.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-18-24, releasing the public water easement on Lot 3 of CSM 13261.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next, we are at the end of the agenda. Thank you very much. It's a long night. And then we're going to report from department. Do you want to add anything else, Shelley, from the Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee?
No.
TTC, Gabriela?
We had a meeting on February 8th, and we actually discussed safe systems, roadway design. So again, continuing the conversation about safe roads, and that was primarily the conversation.
Zero vision, something like that?
Say again?
Zero vision? What is
Yes,
it?
Vision Zero.
Vision Zero.
Yeah, it's the project for TTC for this year, definitely.
It's 9:30. No,
But yeah,
10 o'clock.
that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Thanks.
And any other announcement from the staff?
I will just keep on giving updates as we move along through the neighborhood plans. The only thing I want to say about the neighborhood plans right now, the survey is open for South Stoner neighborhood plan. There is an online survey. Please share it if you have an opportunity, and please take the survey if you have an opportunity. It's on the city's website. And if you can't find it on the city's website, just drop me an email. Yeah, ask Zach, and he can get you there. But otherwise, I'll keep on bringing some regular updates. We're looking at moving into our third steering committee meetings for both neighborhood plans here in the next month or so.
So when we are going to they're going to be done, those neighborhood plans? What is your ideal time frame?
Hopefully, like in November.
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 Oh my Lord. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourning at 10 o'clock. Thank you.